All right. Good day, all Game Boy lovers and people who just happen to have been hanging around since the earlier things on speed gaming and actually have no idea what is happening right now. But anyway, so welcome to another edition of Tiny 10. For the ninth time, we are here to showcase some great speedruns of games you didn't even know were a thing because nobody actually takes Game Boy seriously. But yeah, that's what the Tiny 10 actually is for, to get people familiar with some amazing Game Boy speedruns that could definitely need more runners. I am Mule. With me today are Baltic Gaming and Enemy TV to keep you entertained throughout this 10 Game Boy game race. And if we don't entertain you, you can always mute us and just actually watch the runs.
Which is probably what will happen most likely.
This is why the color schemes are so different across all the four that we have up right now, because we want to keep everyone visually excited about the great Game Boy action that we have all day today here on the Tiny 10 number 9.
Yeah, you gotta keep the eye busy. It's art actually, like this is an art study.
That's one of the critical aspects of Game Boy speedrunning, is which color scheme you choose. And it varies for different games, of course, depending on what different games you run. I don't imagine people will be changing it too much throughout their runs here today, but very important to get the color scheme just right to your taste.
Yeah, it's always Type A controls with the inverted color scheme.
I'm sure some people will change them throughout the games. I'm not sure if Mole Mania actually has a locked-in setting for the things.
I think it
is
does.
a Super Game Boy Enhanced game.
Yeah, nonsense.
So is this one, by the way. This first game that you're seeing on the screen right now, called Un Indien dans la ville, which is French for Indian in the city.
It's a cool game.
It is an all right game for sure. But yeah, maybe first let's go over the list of all the games you will be seeing today before we actually start the race. So first up, Indian in the City, like I mentioned before, that's the one you're seeing right now. We're starting with this one because it's a Super Game Boy Enhanced game. People who are actually playing on Super Game Boy 2 needs more loading time just to get that game started, so that's why we put it at the top of the list, so that there's no loss in time between actual system or emulator. Sadly, we have two Super Game Boy Advanced, not advanced, enhanced games this time. The next one is Mole Mania, also Super Game Boy Enhanced. So yeah, that's gonna give some time loss for people playing on their Super Nintendo. Next up, we have Titus the Fox, which is a Titus game. Wow. It's their mascot, I guess, for the few games they ever made in their life. And Titus is the quote unquote well known of the bunch. After that, we got Mega Man 3 for Game Boy, which is probably the hardest Mega Man Game Boy game that there is. We're only going to be playing through half the game for this one, because anything that happens after the first four Robot Masters is actually really hard. So we definitely did not put that in. Afterwards, we're going to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. If you happen to know who actually did it, please no spoilers. Would be nice if we can keep that as a surprise until the end of the game. So please, no spoilers. For our sixth game, we have Magical Taruruto-kun, also known as Magical Tarururu, because nobody can actually pronounce that name. Not gonna spoil that game. It's gonna be a cool little surprise. Actually, an amazing game that nobody knows because it only came out in Japan. The seventh game on the list is Nemesis. People might wonder what in the world is Nemesis. It is just Gradius. So nothing.
It's a better version
special.
of Gradius.
It is a really good version, actually. So it's actually beatable, unless some of the other versions of that game, if you are not familiar with shmups, that is. The eighth game on the list is Batman: Return of the Joker, and oh boy, it is not a joke at all. This is definitely the hardest game on the list. It is also the shortest. Well, besides Quirk, which is the 9 game, but it is the shortest game on the list if you know what you're doing. but it's a very hard speedrun actually. So that will be very cool to see what our contestants are up to in that game. So yeah, quirk coming up after that, only going up easy, which is predetermined puzzles. So once you know the puzzles, you can easily get through that. We could put the entire game in, but that would take forever. So we're just gonna do one of the alternate modes that you can play in that game, called Going Up Easy. And finally, we have a very special one, because this is something you would normally not really see as a speedrun game. It's the Punisher Ultimate Payback, which is actually a rail shooter. So it's basically an even worse auto-scroller than a shmup, but it's a very interesting game, very fun game. It's not super easy because there are no continues or anything, so you definitely want to stay alive as long as you can. But it's a nice way to finish off this entire list, at least.
Imagine trying to speedrun auto-scrollers.
It is impossible.
That's why you can't speedrun a shmup.
Speedrunning shmups is life. Auto-scrollers make video games better. Minecart Station in particular.
Yeah.
I like the Zen Karoshi person in chat, man. Invalid event, no Alien 3. They understand. No Shaq Fu either.
Nice try, Belthic Gaming, with your alternate accounts.
Do what I can.
All right, I think everybody should be ready to start. So we're gonna make sure this countdown thingy begins here, and then we're gonna see what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna leave here. That is not how you do that, apparently.
On enter.
There we go. So yeah, we're off in a few seconds.
Wow, right away. Hope y'all are ready.
Yeah, you should have been. You had plenty of time. Here we go.
And they're off. So, Indian Little City is a neat little game. It's a platformer, and after every, was it like 2 or 3 stages, they have to go through an auto scroller where you're like in a canoe on a. The first stage you're like in. I've never watched the movie, so I don't know. What's
Nobody
going on with the actual plot, but like apparently like in the game you're like in the jungle, so I'm assuming you're in the jungle at the start of the movie as well too. And you have limited ammo, so you start off with 10 darts, which is what you use to like kill enemies if you choose to do so. I don't know, it's a pretty atypical hold right and go platformer.
Well, at least in the first stage it is, because in the subsequent stages you do have to move left sometimes, which is never seen before in a video game. There's also a lot of auto-scrollers in this one, so basically a perfect speed game, actually.
This first stage is giving me a little bit of a vibe of Little Nemo. Obviously, you're not taking the form of some of the enemies, but I don't know. There's just the look of this stage kind of reminds me of the first stage of Little Nemo.
It's fair, yeah. I don't know who the girl is at the end of the stage either. Is that your sister? Is that your mother? Like, I don't know who that is. Like, sometimes it's a guy.
I think only French people know this, because this movie pretty much only came out in France. But there was, of course, the American adaptation called Jungle to Jungle, with the amazing Tim Allen in it. So that's probably one that people have seen, or not.
I've never even heard of it.
Okay, yeah, see? So there weren't popular movies at all. But yeah, it's basically a kid gets taken out of his jungle, wherever it is in the Amazon, I'm gonna assume. Gets taken into the city. There's some bad guys trying to get some diamonds, because during the 90s, the bad guys were always trying to get diamonds. And after some shenanigans in the city, they go back to the jungle. That's pretty much the entire story.
Rent it today from Blockbuster.
Yeah.
There's still one open, and I think it's in Oregon.
Right. Wait, what are you doing with yourselves, Oregon?
But what's interesting about this game is it takes 3 bounces on the screw heads to get, or on an enemy's head to get jump up. You do that in Titus the Fox too. Coming up, it's kind of a fun fact. I'm gonna go ahead and say this game stole Titus the Fox's mechanics.
But it also is made by the same company, so it makes sense that it works the same way.
But why can't you bounce on people? Never mind. We'll get to that when that game comes up.
Yeah.
So are they like climb? Oh yeah. Yep. So are they like climbing the Eiffel Tower?
Yes.
It could be, yeah.
Absolutely, they are. Yes, definitely. No one can prove otherwise, right?
I mean, also, like, why are we collecting glue? I have a lot of questions right now.
I think you know why.
So we can stick to the tower?
No, big fan of models. Big fan of building models. Need some modeling glue. Come on. Stick to the tower. That wouldn't work. That's nonsense.
Like there's mayonnaise on the ground?
Well, there's some birds flying around. So
well, that makes sense.
You want to
if
put
you're
2 and 2
tower.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just hope it is mayonnaise.
But
well,
yeah,
I'm saying, like, birds, birds gotta do their thing every once in a while.
I like how that hat comes back to that guy, too. Like, I want one of those hats.
Not enough boomerang hats in real life, you know? Ah, minecart stage. Alright, this is great.
Oh, I don't remember this stage at all in the game.
There's a minecart stage, and Frankenstein's monsters hanging out, trying to grab the Indian in the city.
Which, of course, is all in the movie.
I legit do not remember the minecart stage in my playthrough of it.
Yeah, that's probably because these minecart stages are basically 10 seconds long, so...
Yeah, they're very short.
They're really forgettable, so...
Also, why are we collecting pots?
This game took a dark turn very quickly.
Dude, Hero is just bouncing off skeleton.
Oh, yes.
You gotta watch out for those dwarf mooses as well, too.
True fact, these minecart stages are better than the Donkey Kong Country ones.
Well, there's only 2 in Donkey Kong Country, and you can skip both of them. So, arguably, those are the best minecart stages in the history of video games, depending on your stance on minecarts.
See, I enjoy the level that Hero's on now, even though it's a really bad auto-scroller. Like, if you collect certain fish, though, you get health or lives or whatever, and all you have to do is just hold right the entire time. Like, I don't know. It's the best level.
It's a pretty good auto-scroller, guys.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of slowdown happening either, so that's always nice.
Yeah.
That's the trick with auto-scrollers. You gotta watch out for the slowdown. You gotta, you get to... And I'm sure we'll see a little bit of this in Nemesis. Well, maybe not. Nemesis might be at a fixed frame rate. But,
there's no lag in Game Boy games.
Yeah, right. Not ever. Anyway, yeah, when you're playing those auto-scrollers, you gotta be careful not to let the lag get the better of you. That's the main focus, and it doesn't look like there's any issue for Grand and Hero. Just hanging out on the right side of that screen, avoiding the bird droppings.
It has 98 darts.
I'm guessing that's close to the maximum amount of darts.
I think 99.
Or it might be 98, I don't know.
Wouldn't be surprised in this game.
They just wanted to throw everyone for a loop. They set it at 98.
Yeah, we can see it in the... I think the final stage is also one of these rafting sections, I guess. You start with the max, so we'll see if there actually is 99 or not in that one.
But one thing to note in this game, though, is when you do get hit, you get launched backwards pretty far. So if you've ever played like Castlevania or something and you get hit, you get launched backwards. So if you're on an edge or on a slope, like, high chance you're gonna be falling for a long time, or you're just gonna fall to your... and some of these things can just come out of nowhere, like, Some Girl right now and Mr. PUBG are on the tower stages, those guys throwing bolts at them, like they can throw bolts even with them not being on the screen. As long as you're close enough to them in range, they'll just do it. So it's some of it's a lot of trial and error. Some of it is just being very cautious.
Some girl actually is the world record holder for this game, so she's actually having some troubles during this run. But yeah, she holds the world record at 12 minutes and 42 seconds. But I do believe that Lex found another skip that saves a lot of time, but it hasn't been put in a run yet, so...
Yeah, so you just saw Hero take intentional damage and then grabs a fish and is full health again. But there are some fish that are bad for your health. I did find that out as well, too. It's the bigger fish.
This is a really long auto-scroller.
Yeah. And there's like 2 or 3 of them.
Those minecarts aren't looking so bad right now.
The issue I have with the minecarts, remembering it now, is you can clip corners really easily in them. Like, it looks like you're going to make the landing, and you just fall through the platform. I think we just saw that on Legs' screen, so...
Yep, yes indeed. Yeah, the trajectory is a little tricky, it looks like, coming off of the higher platforms, going on the lower ones.
Gotta love that parallax scrolling on Game Boy, though.
Except in the foreground, where the ground isn't moving at all, but the people are appearing on the ground in the foreground.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually supposed to be a dock or something on the side of the canal where he's rafting in, but it kind of looks like they're just coming
just
right from the water, like,
just sliding in.
Yeah, just Jesusing their way through there.
And Hero is through the auto scroller, so now we are back to some more going right on the platforming here.
Back in that good old jungle.
I do remember this part of the game, and this part of the game was really hard because of the monkeys. So the monkeys throw like coconuts or something at you, and they bounce around, and it's kind of just a mess in general. This was actually really hard in my casual playthrough of this game. And this is the part I had the most trouble with. Just because I'd always get hit off of platforms.
Yeah, the monkeys are a real bother in that one.
Legs now getting started on the massive auto-scroller in the water. Some girl also in the water, canoeing along.
Oh, we got Hero back in the water again.
Yes, indeed.
Mm-hmm. The final stage.
So those big piranha boys jumping around? Yeah, those are the ones that hurt you.
Indeed.
So, like, did the kid just, like, run away and then run back to the jungle? Like, I feel like that's a long run from the Eiffel Tower to the jungle.
Nah, they took him with them. But yeah, as I also have never seen the movie, I don't know why. Besides diamonds, of course. So it's always diamonds.
Huh.
Yeah, you should ask those 2 guys from Seinfeld from the cover. George
if you haven't seen the cover of this game, at a glance it looks like some sort of Seinfeld game, because there's off-brand George and Kramer on it.
Mm-hmm.
Off-brand George and Kramer.
Like the non-union counterparts of George and Kramer. Yeah.
I like how you called them off-brand.
I don't know, maybe they're very famous French actors, but I don't know.
They probably are, yeah.
They look like George Costanza and Kramer, that's it.
They could definitely be their stunt doubles in the Seinfeld movie or something.
Is Mr. PUBG doing this blind again? I know last Tiny 10 he came into this blind. I'm curious if he's doing this list blind again.
Pretty much, yes. And actually most of the contestants are doing it half blind.
I mean, he's making good progress through stage 2. Like, stage 2 is weird because, like, the screen doesn't scroll with you right away when you're jumping up, so if you hit a bird, like, you just don't know if you're going to hit a bird when you're jumping off of a ball. Like, the level itself, like running-wise, isn't bad, but, like, not knowing what's above you or ahead of you is kind of a disaster. Hero on Mole Mania.
Yeah, that's right. That's what's ahead for him right now. As he's getting going on the second game here on the list. And what is our goal for this one, guys?
Beat World 2.
There you go.
So, Mole Mania is a fun little action puzzler game where you're a mole and you're on a mania.
Yep.
Yeah.
That pretty much covers it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for watching, everyone.
So our runners are going to go through World 2. Otherwise, if we did the 1 through 8 no out of bounds glitch, they'd be in here for 15 plus hours because this is a pretty long game. There is a any percent glitch where you can glitch yourself out of bounds and skip to the final stage, or skip to the boss in every world. But our runners are not allowed to do that. Our runners must go through worlds 1 and 2 normally. So you're going to see a lot of digging in and out of the ground. So the whole sole purpose of this, the lore behind Mole Mania is that your children and your wife were captured by a gardener. And it's up to you to go save them. So you have to go through 8 worlds, and they're all puzzles. So you have to either solve them underground, above ground, unlock a certain lock, whatever it may be, and defeat the boss at the end. Along the way, you'll come across an old man mole who has a heart in his cart that will full heal you. The cabbages, those are cabbages on the screen. I know they look like rocks a little bit, but if you collect 4 cabbages and throw them into a hole, I believe you get a piece of heart or whatever it is.
Each one gives you basically 1 hit back, but
Yeah.
if you're full health, of course, you don't see it. But those are collectibles if you want to complete the game, which gives you like a tiny different ending, I believe. But that's pretty much all.
I'm a big fan of the mole being able to suplex objects.
Yeah,
It's
man.
nice mechanic.
German anything.
Yeah.
Couple cool things about this run just in general is that when you're underground, to see if there's any danger above you, you can kind of poke your nose out of the ground to see if there's any danger above you or if you're going to get hit at all by any point. And there's something called a quick dig where you can mash B or press B at a certain time, and instead of waiting for the animation for the mole to come in or out of the hole, it will just automatically do it. But this is a cool game. Another fun thing too is that, like, if you dig a bunch of holes, like I said, like every screen is a puzzle, and the goal is to, open up a lock or whatever it is at the end. And if you mess up, you can just leave the screen and go back into it to reset. So now we're gonna go into our first boss here, which is the kangaroo. The kangaroo is gonna throw apples at the mole's last known position. And what's going to happen is that on his third hop, it's going to do a really big jump, and you need to place the thumbtack underneath the shadow where it's going to land, and then it's going to flop around like a fish out of water, like you just saw. And as you progress through this fight, it will throw more apples, and it will throw apples faster at you. So that's the boss fight in a nutshell. But you can listen to this sweet banger, though.
We saw Hero use a health item to regain his health. I guess these are items that he's picking up along the way.
Yeah, a health potion is something you can find underground in each world. so you can heal up once completely.
Yeah, along the way underground, they'll find potions and other items to help them throughout. There are actually like certain areas of the game too that have like power ups. Just that's what the room is solely for. But I don't know. I don't think we'll see the runners go.
So as Chad is saying, apparently Hero got world record in a.
I was wondering about that.
So yeah, congratulations for that. That's pretty cool to see in a race, of course. As we don't see the timer, it's kind of hard for us to see that.
Oh yeah, there isn't one, is there?
Yeah.
Oh well. Who needs a timer?
Yeah, Hero got a few world records for games that are on the list, actually. Let's see. I got the list here. He got a world record in Magical Tururu, world record in Nemesis, thanks to some help from his viewers who found out 2 death warps, which the world record holder was not using in his run. And he also got the Punisher Ultimate Payback world record, beating me, but that was literally just a playthrough. So
I was curious if there was going to be death warps in Nemesis, because like I used to run Gradius way back in the day, and like they are pretty much the same game. And I was just like, man, this is weird that this game doesn't have any death warps at all.
That's something we're seeing a lot throughout many different Gradius games, actually. The discovery and use of death warps that don't necessarily seem like the most obvious thing in the history of the world, but have really become a nice advantage in the speedruns of several different Gradius games. So it's nice to see that in Nemesis as well. And I'm sure we'll be talking more about them when we get over to Nemesis. That'll be a few games from now. But Hero right now is just flying through Mole-mania here.
Yeah, Hero should end with a sub 2 time for sure during this race. He has been practicing a lot. That's always a possibility, by the way, when we are making these lists. Usually, without that much practice, you can definitely get a time of 2 hours and a half. If you are really, really good at running these things, you can definitely get sub 2 hours. I'm not sure anymore what the complete world record time is now, because I haven't updated it. Let me see. I can just copy paste this hopefully in my Google. No, I cannot, so that's great. That is fantastic. I'll figure it out.
Looks like we got some girl on Mole-mania. Legs is on the final stage of Indian game, and Mr. PUBG is getting through World 2 of Indian. Like I said, World 2 is weird, just because you just don't know what's coming ahead. Like, you can't see in front of you, but yet they can still throw things at you. You don't know what's above you, but yet like a bird can be right above you to hurt you. It's not a well-programmed game, is what I'm saying.
Alright, the combined world record time at this moment for all 10 games is 1 hour and 39 minutes and 34 seconds. So, definitely possible to get sub 2 if you practiced.
Yeah, and for those of you wondering like what type of RNG is in Mole-mania, the only time you're going to get real RNG in this game is in the much later worlds. Our runners are not going to run into any RNG at all with this goal. So the only RNG bosses I can remember off the top of my head is you got this one mother mole person who can spawn anywhere, and one that throws wrenches, that can throw wrenches anywhere. But for the most part, there is no RNG in this goal at all. There is RNG in the kangaroo, but if you miss the kangaroo, should not play Mole Mania.
The kangaroo does move pretty slowly. It does telegraph its movement pretty easily. So you should be able to adapt to that. Yeah. Of course, we have legs getting going on Mole Mania now as well.
Yeah, she absolutely hates this game.
Yeah, can't stand it at all.
I don't think that's true.
She was dreading this game when it was put in the list.
Yeah. Ruining our podcast episode about it as well. Like,
so yeah, Hero's making quick work of Mole Mania. Wonder if he would ever do full game.
well, maybe the glitched one, but doing full game is a run of basically 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's
Wow.
yeah, that's dedication.
Yeah.
Because this is a really long game. So
Yeah, so here we have the Sun Boss. What Hero is going to do is that the Sun Boss is completely done by momentum. So what Hero is going to do is that on the pendulum swing there, as the sun is the furthest or the closest to the edge, furthest away from the mole, he's going to hurry up and kick another ball at it because he wants to line the balls up and take the intentional damage off the get-go. That way he can basically one-cycle the sun and get it done and over with.
Yeah, that was super quick.
Yeah. So most people actually do it from top to bottom. That's the first time I've seen it go side by side like that. So, but I mean, regardless, it works both ways. You just have to set up the balls in the proper setting, and then take the intentional damage. Now we're on to Titus. This game sucks. So the goal is to play the game in hard mode, which allows you to move 2 times faster than on normal mode. Otherwise, it's the exact same game. Normal mode, you move hellaciously slow. Throughout this game, there are hidden passages. That is the name of this game, is hidden passages. The little black balls there are bouncing balls, which allows you to bounce off of them, and the crates allow you to throw to beat your enemies. Hitboxes in this game are awful. The hitbox may look like it's your border, but it's actually surpasses your border quite a bit. After every 2 stages, there is a bonus game, and the goal of the bonus game is to die as fast as you can. However, the deaths in the bonus games do count towards your 1-ups, or towards your lives, so you can game over if you're not careful. Hero is in World 2 right now, which the only big hurdle here is towards the end, depending on how much damage he'll take. I think he's gonna play it a little safe there. He'll probably take damage boost for the next couple flies. Oh, he's gonna play it really safe. So at the end of this stage is a really tough jump over a skeleton. And the reason it's tough is that when you hit the ceiling, Titus gets shot down right away. So if you don't have enough health, you jump on the skull, you'll die, and you have to start the stage over again. 2-2 is the best stage in the game, where you just fall off the right edge, hug the left wall, and go to the end of the stage. This is probably the best stage in the game because it's literally 2 seconds long. All the bonus stages from here on out, with the exception of World 5, you're going to have to fall into spikes and get hit 4 or 5 times before Titus will die. So, the reason we want to die quickly in bonus games and not collect these squares that you see Hero collecting right now is that every 100 squares that you collect is a 1-up, and it has to count that in the bonus screens. Hero, in my opinion, is in the hardest world of the game. 3-1 is the snowball stage where, as you can see, he's trying to run on mayonnaise right now, and running on mayonnaise just isn't optimal. It's just not a good time. So from here, Hero didn't take a ton of damage, so he's pretty safe, but typically you take a lot of damage boosts through that entire stage, and at the end there's this one fly that moves at Mach speed, and if it hits you, you just die. A lot of times, too, you'll slide off of the edge of the mayonnaise platform and fall to your death as well, too.
man, Titus really likes their mayonnaise ever.
Yeah.
Gross.
So you saw the end of the stage there at the very top. So instead of being able to jump to the end of the stage or having a platform magically appear there, you have to jump across some mayonnaise platforms and get to the end of the stage.
Some of these end of stages seem like they're just randomly.
Oh, you just wait.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like, oh, it's over now. He got to a tile on the screen.
So we're in 4-1 now, which arguably casually is probably the hardest stage. Because it throws a lot of things at you really quick. Those scorpions can be really deceiving, especially at the end of this stage. What Hero is going to do is he's going to grab this bouncy ball here, and I'm not sure if he's going to set up the glitch or not. He didn't quite get it. He was close, though. So there's a glitch with the bouncy balls where if you line up the bouncy balls to the edge of the platform that you're about to jump to, instead of having to do 3 bounces to get to the top of the platform, you only have to do 2, which, does ultimately save you time. Hero does have to be careful of his health, though. He has taken 3 hits already, and I believe you have 4 or 5 hits. So if he dies here, he has to start this 3-1 stage over again. So it looks like he's safe there. Is he 3-1? 4-1. 4-1. This is the stage that is, if you played casually, you probably rage quit on and gave up on. On this stage, Hero is going to take a hidden passage and walk all the way to the right, and then activate a hidden ladder to get to the end of the stage. The only way to get to the end of this stage is to activate this hidden ladder. So as a blind runner, you need to understand that you need to jump into a wall to trigger a hidden ladder. So... God, I'm so glad you guys let me run this at Retrothon.
I mean, how could we not?
I mean, yeah.
It's clearly one of the great Game Boy games.
The pinnacle of Game Boy.
Of all time.
So here we are in World 5 now. And again, if you don't know where to jump, you'll never know that there is a hidden ladder to climb to the top of this building where the exit of the stage is at.
It's like, obviously in Karnov you get ladders, but it's like Karnov, where the ladders kind of like sprouts from the ground when you use it, except here you have no idea where the ladder's going to be. You just have to guess.
Exactly. And like in this stage here, there is this random sprouting pipes that take you to the top of the stage, which you can take if you want. It's a little bit slower, but it's a lot safer. But there's just no reason for them at all. So here we're in a bonus stage for World 5. There is no way to die in this bonus stage that we're aware of. So the goal of this one is to try and decrease the amount of squares that you grab as you hold right. And the ending of the stage is covered by your timer, so you don't know where the end of the stage is actually at. So... So we're in World 6, which is the world of tight jumps. 6-1 is exceptionally easy. All you have to do is jump onto a couple ladders and you're done, which you're going to see real quick here. 6-2 is the actual nightmare of the world. And even then, it's not all that bad. So right here, Hero is probably going to jump onto the box here and then do a running jump onto a ladder. The nice thing about this game is that you don't have to be on the same platform as the ladder. You can just run and press up onto it. However, if you miss any of these jumps that Hero is making right now, you fall to the ground and you have to climb all the way back up again. Here, Hero's going to make one really tight jump, take a damage boost, and he's going to finish Titus the Fox right here. Congratulations, you just saw the end of Titus the Fox. Did you like all those boss fights, by the way?
Those were some really exceptional boss fights. And, oh, hey, we're on the Mega Man 3, so let's talk about that instead of any other games right now. Well, we can still talk about Mole Mania and even, Indian in the City, but, Alright, Mega Man 3. So, yeah, I think most people, if you're watching this, you're probably familiar with the way that a lot of these Mega Man games were handled for the Game Boy. They're kind of a combination of the game that it has the number of from the NES version, and then the next game up. So this one is a combination of 3 and 4 with its Robot Masters. And this is the one that's probably considered the hardest of the Game Boy Megas.
This is the hardest Game Boy Mega Man.
So here we are starting with Shadow Man. Pretty darn good music. They upped their game from Mega Man 2 a little bit in terms of the audio.
I mean, Mega Man 2 had different Well, they didn't have different composers. They just had different people doing it.
I have a soft spot in my heart for the Mega Man 2 soundtrack. For the Mega Man 2 Game Boy soundtrack. Rockman World 2, we should call it. Because when I say 2, it doesn't play that it's a Roman numeral instead of an Arabic number. But... yeah, this actually sounds like Mega Man 3 right now, which is what you want, I think, out of a game with the Mega Man name on it, since it is so well known for its soundtrack.
I always forget this game has charge. Buster,
yeah.
Because, like, Mega Man 3 NES doesn't, obviously. So, like, whenever I play Mega Man 3 Game Boy, I'm like, oh, right, I can charge my Buster.
Yeah, that, of course, stems from... the other half of this game, which is Mega Man 4, which we will not see, by the way. That is actually that hard part of this game. The first 4 stages are pretty easy to get through, but it's when you get to Dive Man and Drill Man that's... Wait, is it Drill Man? I'm not even sure anymore.
Drill, Dive, Dust, and Skull.
Skull, yeah. There are some issues there with some of the most tight jumps you'll ever see in any game ever, so...
Well, speaking of tight jumps right there, Hero had a little bit of an issue with that jump and ate it right there. Shadow Man said, hey, I'm going to slide underneath of you, and you were going to land on me, and we will do this fight again.
Yeah, if you've ever done the Shadow Man fight on NES as Buster only...
It's fun!
Imagine that same difficulty, but for Game Boy as well, too. It's a tough fight with Buster only.
Well, he made it look easy that time, folks.
And it looks like we got some girl on the internet in World 2 of Mole Mania getting to the boss. Legs is also in World 2 as well. And PUBG making his way into World 3 of Indian Game.
Yeah, for this goal in Mega Man 3, which is beat Suzy 1, which is like the midway boss between everything. If you look at the world record, which is held by Percy at this moment, he finishes the entire game in 26 minutes and 23 seconds, which is really fast for this game, by the way, because it's really not that easy. But he gets Big Suzy done at 9 minutes and 56 seconds. So if you practice this, you can definitely get like a time between 10 and 12 minutes, depending on how much you use the actual weapons that the game provides you with, which make it easier. But you can definitely just do it Buster only if you want to.
So fast. So we have Flocious in World... It looks like World 1 of Indian Game right now. I'm not sure where Infinite Mystery is at.
I'll go see if I can't find the out-of-town scoreboard here.
Looks like Infinite Mystery is on World 4 of Indian Game. Like the monkeys are giving him some problems. I know all about those monkey. Oh, and he has no darts either. Yeah, I know all about the monkey problems with no darts.
That's a problem.
Oh, well, yeah, for stage 5. My bad. So he's in 5-2 now, which I think is the final stage of the Indian Game. Yeah. So once he passes this auto scroller. He has 4 lives, so he's looking pretty good, so he'll be on to Mole Mania.
Here you can definitely see that some girl has not played Titus the Fox before. She's definitely taking a long route through stage 1, I believe it is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a safe route because, like I said, like the more you collect those squares, the more one-ups you'll get. There is apparently limited continues in this game. I didn't know that.
Yep.
So it's a thing.
Yeah, I didn't know either until Lex told me actually during her practice that she game overed. Because, yeah, like, it's not that hard of a game, to be perfectly fair, but if you're trying to do it really fast, of course, there are some problems to get through the stages.
The biggest thing in Titus is just knowing where the hitboxes are. This understanding that the hitboxes isn't the white outline that you see on the sprite. It's like 2 or 3 pixels outside of it.
Hero making his way to Snake Man.
Best Mega Man music coming up right here. Oh, so good.
It is a very good song indeed. As you can see, he switched to the Shadow... What was it called? Shadow Blade?
Shadow Blade.
Yeah, so that helps a lot with a lot of these enemies. It's basically... Thingy from Mega Man 2, but for Mega Man 3. The Metal Blade.
Metal Blade.
Yeah. It's also blades, so no.
I made my first tripod website. This is was the NES version, but this is the MIDI that I had playing.
Nice.
No,
Welcome you in. As was the custom of the time.
That is true.
To have a MIDI playing in the background.
I remember that on MySpace.
Yeah, the internet was weird back in the mid-90s.
Eddie!
Eddie, not being much of a bro there. Just drop in weapon energy. Not that Hero's waiting around for it anyway. But...
Yeah, I think upcoming is one of those very tight jumps in this game. Yeah, that was it actually.
Oh, hey, a Mega Man 5 reference. 5 with a B.
My favorite part of the Snake Man stage is sliding underneath the pogo, guys. Probably my favorite part of this entire stage.
Very satisfying.
Hero having some ladder issues there. Taking that hit from the hammer, Joe.
This is the scary part of Snake Man stage.
Yeah, it's actually more scary than the NES version, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, the NES version, you can just rush jet across the entire thing. Here, you don't get rush jet, so you gotta like predict when the bouncy boys are coming to.
Here's our boy Snake Man.
Oh, something I didn't tell you all about Titus. Whenever you're carrying something with Titus, your jumping height and jumping distance is reduced because you're carrying something. So there is sort of physics involved in the game.
It's always fun to be real super serious about those sorts of physics in a anthropomorphic character platformer. Because you got to be real serious about the physics if they're holding something.
Yeah, and they did not do much programming besides that, to be fair, so it's weird that they would focus on that. So, yeah.
Design doc was anthropomorphic character, platformer, box physics got to be legit. That was
Sounds pretty much like a Titus game, yeah.
So you can see,
Mayonnaise
on
was
Legs.
number 4.
You can see on Legs' screen, she didn't get the ball step correctly. So what's happening is that the sun does lose momentum rather quickly upon getting hit. So what Legs is going to have to do is basically do like a 2 to 3 hit approach to it. But looks like she's having some momentum issues with the sun right now.
Ooh, Hero hugging the spikes there in Gemini Man stage. This is also a worse Gemini Man stage than the NES one. Not difficulty-wise, but very hard to navigate this one, in my opinion.
There we go. Legs knocks down the Sunbot. Let's say PUBG is back into the Indian stage again. Again, Indian game does not have. It has limited continues as well, if any. I don't remember. It's a weird game. If you've never played anything like it before, it can be a pretty weird game.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, the hardest part about the Indian game is just knowing when things are coming up, because you literally won't know until it's in your.
Pretty great version of Gemini Man's music in this Game Boy game.
All the music in Mega Man 3 Game Boy is very good.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, even the original tracks. There are not many of them, of course. Mostly the Wily stage, the select screen and things like that. The intro theme. Those are, of course, completely original, but they always do a great job. Because it's always people who know what they're doing with the music, unlike what happened with the second game on Game Boy, sadly.
It is very special, that soundtrack for the Mega Man.
Yeah, the original songs on that one are also good, actually, but it's just that the pitch is all wrong.
I think there's a ROM hack of it where the music is actually corrected.
Oh,
I'm
I don't
not
know.
sure
I feel like
about
that'd be
that.
disappointing.
I know
I
there's
know
an album available.
I was gonna say, I know someone at least fixed the audio at some point for it.
Yeah, you can download it for free or give the person money. It's one of those things. Bandcamp, I suppose.
Right.
Bandcamp.
Sure. So yeah, you can find it on YouTube as well. I think with correct pitch.
This is terrifying. I hated this part of the Gemini stage.
Yeah, and you can totally understand why Hero's taking it as tentatively as he is, because, one tile wide, falling onto spikes, obviously no good, and he's got enemies with kind of small shitboxes that move in a little bit of a nasty way. The bunnies, obviously, they're jumping up pretty quickly, and they have a small hitbox. The dragonflies dropping from the ceiling, those are no good to mess around with.
Ooh.
Whew, new to a laser to that.
Alright, he had one life left, so he's going to spawn right back here. Gotta be careful this time. Does have pretty much full search snakes, though. Although he's going to switch back over to the Shadow Blaze right now, which is a soft weakness of Gemini Man. And it's a little bit easier to hit with, because the search snakes meander along the ground and then the walls.
Lag snakes.
Yeah, exactly. So, no problem, though, that time. I believe that will take us to our fourth Robot Master here.
No, he's done with the Robot Master.
Okay,
he's on to Susie now.
Yeah.
Oh,
which might
right.
be a problem.
That'd be the fourth one. Okay, so... Alright, so what are we looking at with Susie here?
Well, I mean, he could take an intentional death and just start as Susie with full lives, but the Susie fight isn't all that bad.
Yeah.
He'll probably use, a Spark for Susie, and Susie will either go around the perimeter of a room, a very small room, mind you, and then it'll bounce around a little bit. The movement's a little sporadic, but if you're on the ball, you can dodge a lot.
Yeah. Fun fact about Mega Man Game Boy 3. Not in this part of the game, but this is actually the only Mega Man where Wily has a fortress that is underwater.
Yeah, very good fight.
Somehow, okay. I was gonna say somehow Lex is not triggering.
The triggers for Titus the Fox are actually really, really finicky. That you have to touch a certain pixel of a certain block in order to trigger the hidden ladders or the hidden platforms. It is so good. It's such a well-programmed game.
Indeed, Captain Duck. He usually goes to space in every Mega Man game on Game Boy, at least, except for the third one where it's underwater. And you don't see that in any NES game either.
Now, you might have a couple, or a stage here or there that will take place underwater primarily, but not the entire castle being submerged.
Yeah.
All right, well, now we're on to everybody's favorite game. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
So who did it?
No spoilers, I said.
the movie's like 30 years old. So Who Framed Roger Rabbit, as you can see, is very different than the NES version already. Eddie, we don't have Eddie walking around. We're not controlling Eddie, rather, for that part. We don't have the car. I forgot the car's name.
Benny is the cat.
Okay. It's been a while since I saw the movie. So the point of this game is I think there's 5 or 6 scenes in the Roger Rabbit Game Boy game. And each scene, you have to do a certain thing to trigger the finale. So in scene 1, you have to go talk to the director, who then gets shot, and then now our runners have to go find Jessica Rabbit. But before you can go to Jessica Rabbit, before you can go into the nightclub, you have to go get the password from a person's desk. Kind of like an RPG style, where you can talk to the random bystanders throughout the game. They will tell you like hints on like where to go, what needs to happen, etc. So here we're into scene 2. Now we actually get to talk to Eddie, and you've already been introduced to the Weasels now, so you know the Weasels have something to play with this whole fiasco of the director getting murdered. It's actually a pretty fun game. If you do want to play a good Roger Rabbit game, play the Game Boy version.
Yeah, they seem to take some liberties with the story, or at least with how it plays out. In,
the
Game Boy version. But that's it makes for a better game. So, God bless.
Yeah, they definitely don't completely follow the movie plotline. Like, I do remember parts of the movie. It has been many years since I have watched it, but I do remember a majority of it. Mm-hmm. They definitely do take quite a few liberties from the movie. But yeah, overall, the game is much better than the NES counterpart, which tried to mimic the movie as much as possible. So here, what we're going to do in scene 2 is that Eddie gave us this hammer that shoots a boxing glove out, and what we have to do is get a piece of bread from the bakery. However, one of the Weasels stole a loaf of bread, and now we're going to chase it, and then it's going to drop said piece of bread, and we're going to use this piece of bread as bait, and then we're going to have to get glue to stick the Weasel on the ground. It's a whole thing. Then we have to interrogate the Weasel.
There's a lot of glue in this Tiny 10.
Yeah. A lot of mayonnaise. The fun part of this speedrun doesn't happen until like the last 2 scenes, because then you get speed boots. So along the way you get, I think you have 3 to 4 hearts, and if you eat 1 carrot, it completely heals you, if I remember correctly. So it's not a huge... Health is usually not a big issue unless you don't know where you're going.
Alright, so Roger punched Eddie out of the glue there.
Yep.
As you do.
Oh, right. So... what's going to happen now is that Hero is going to go left, and the door that was now closed is now open, and Hero is going to go in here, probably punch a few Weasels, knock them down, and go get some glue.
Is this just a Metal Gear game?
It is now, yes.
Fantastic.
So you don't really kill anything in this game, you just knock them out.
Sure, of course, because it's a children's
Metal
game.
Gear, right?
Yeah. There's no killing in Metal Gear either.
Well, not if you want big boss rank.
No, wait. Well, I mean, otherwise, what's the point?
Right. And if you knock over a can, it alerts them, just like Metal Gear. You make a sound. Yeah.
Right. How about that?
I actually didn't make that connection at all until you just said that. So.
It's straight up Metal Gear.
Yeah.
You got the crates, you got the exclamation marks, the sound alerts them. There's a boxing glove that comes out of a hammer. I mean, it's all there.
You're a rabbit? I mean...
Yeah. I'm pretty sure rabbit is one of the ranks you can get in...
I believe it is. I believe it is.
It's probably, at least in Metal Gear 3, there's like 1,000 ranks in that game.
So here Eddie's going to tell us to put the glue down, and we're going to hide behind a building and watch the stupid weasel come and get stuck, and then we're going to interrogate. As you do in Roger Rabbit. If you guys don't remember this from the movie, you need to go watch the movie again.
I feel like... I mean, the weasel looking at the bread could have very easily seen that glue. I feel like if he was running from the other direction, at least the glue would have been obscured by the gigantic loaf of bread.
Well, as
and then
he
he could have, like, the momentum
knocked
could
out.
have carried him into the glue at that point. I take umbrage with the setup of this glue trap. I think, I don't know, this Roger Rabbit game may not be completely on the level here.
I mean, what if they just glued the bread to the road and then watched the weasel try to get the bread off
Yeah,
the road?
he's pulling it up. Well, I mean, then you could probably, like, the bottom part of the bread, but you still probably pick up most of the bread. So
Right.
that might only slow him down for a few moments, you see.
So here we're in scene 3, I believe now.
Yes, scene 3.
We are going to get a gun. And Roger Rabbit's not taking any more prisoners here soon.
Do all of the bullets have colorful characterizations?
I wish.
Because that is from the movie.
They do not, but you can control them while...
That is true.
That's great. Man, that's so funny. You're just like, what if we made this a Metal Gear game? They're like, yeah, okay. Just do that.
So now we have the tune gun. We don't have any ammo for it. And fun fact, if you talk to one of the guys in the later screen, the guy says a gun is worthless without bullets. Yep, sure is. You know,
it's true.
So yeah, basically what we're gonna do is just typically in a speedrun you don't actually knock out all these weasels, but for safety reasons, knock them out. 2 hits and they're done with the punching glove.
Yeah, the world record for roof range Roger Rabbit actually held by Swordsman Kirby, one of the few games that is not Kirby that he played. And it's 16 minutes and 18 seconds. That's a pretty standard time for a Game Boy game, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, that world record can be improved pretty drastically as well too. I watched SK run this game and route it and learn it, and there are definitely parts that can be optimized. So if you're looking for a speedrunning game for Game Boy that has some bulk to it, Roger Rabbit's not a bad speed game, honestly. It's a little slow to start, but it does pick up later on. Like this train segment here is the slowest segment in the game.
Yeah, see that. Holy cow.
It's like the tank in Contra Alien Wars Game Boy.
We're just... Yep, now it got to the one side of the screen. And what's going to happen? Oh, the screen's going to scroll. Look at that. Wow. Couldn't just end up in the destination, huh? Had to animate all those screens going past.
It is very important.
They're like, dang it, we coded these screens. We're going to show them to you.
Yeah, the thing is, you can actually walk over to the left side, but all those buildings that you see in the background house weasels with machine guns.
Well, that's no good.
Yeah, so you end up dead basically on the first screen, so that's why
real
you need
quick.
to take a card.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way in my casual playthrough.
Yeah, casually this game also isn't that long, to be perfectly honest. It's like an hour and a half, maybe.
Alright, so
now Hero
got some bullets.
So we've taken down one weasel. 2 more weasels to go.
Yeah, and instead of just actually shooting the weasel like you're doing here, we will actually be shooting down the balloons that he's hanging from.
Wow, spoilers. Look at that control.
So he's got control over that, or are they turning at a certain point?
He has control over it.
Okay.
So there's the weasel boss. It's pretty tough. Fun fact: you can get bullets in that desk right there too.
Yeah. Kind of sad they didn't put the singing sword into this game, which would be completely useless. Kind of as useless as the knife in
Knife in Alien 3.
Yeah,
Oh my god, it comes full circle.
So yeah, that guy fell from a building a few stories up, so he's basically dead.
I mean,
Could have
his name
just
is
shot him
like,
instead of his balloons.
He's resting though.
his
Yeah.
name is Psycho. So now we have these speed boots, right? This is when the speed run actually gets fun, because instead of having to take that stupid train, we can just run past the machine guns.
Also, look at those nice butt cracks.
Yeah, man.
They're gone now, so you'll have to wait until somebody else gets to the game to see them again.
And another feature of this game is whenever you start a new scene, you have to re-equip whatever items you had equipped to the previous scene. It doesn't save your items that are currently equipped, so that's a feature. Another feature is whenever those bullets get shot at you, they disappear because of flickering.
I was gonna ask if that was sprite flicker or if that was just capture elements.
Spray flicker.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's a feature, yeah. Oh, there's the baby. The baby is the best character in all of Roger Rabbit. So the baby gives you an axe, as it should, and now we have to go free. We have to go free Benny. Unlike, did we have to save Benny in the movie? I really don't remember that part of the movie with Benny at all.
I don't think you save Benny. I think Benny appears when Benny is needed.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I think I don't remember if he shows up earlier and then he pops up to take.
So I know he takes Eddie.
He takes him to get through the tunnel and to the warehouse and everything.
Right, yeah. I remember a lot of the movie, but I don't remember some of it.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too.
The most important parts. But we gotta go save Benny. Benny is locked up in the junkyard. There we go. Couldn't think of the word. So we have the axe from the baby that we're gonna break the chains and free Benny.
I do remember Benny getting hurt in the movie.
See, I remember him getting hurt by...
He goes through the dip, and then his tires start popping, because...
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So this is This is probably the toughest fight in the game. Hero made it look really, really easy, but... if those bombs get a little out of control, it snowballs pretty quick.
Yeah, and when you travel with Benny, you always have a chance to get which is basically the same. I think that's what happens because now he's actually gonna fight Psycho. If you have full health, this fight shouldn't be a problem, but it can get ugly pretty fast.
The bombs are what make it hard, because it looks like the bombs, you're gonna miss the bombs, or like the bombs are gonna miss you, but like the way that screen is set up, the bombs kind of hit you no matter what. It's unless you're very far away from it. That fight can snowball very. So yeah, we got, what, 2 weasels down now? 3 weasels down?
3, yeah.
Yeah, we got 1 more weasel to go. And, we're gonna go into the docks, where there's a bunch of barrels and such. And we gotta take on Smarty. So let's get an update on where everyone's at here. We got Sprinty Legs in World 3 of Titus the Fox. We have some girl on the internet in the Impossible stage in World 4. Oh, that's unfortunate. She doesn't know about the ladder. Yeah. Yep. That sucks. We have Mr. PUBG in the Indian game, and let me pull up this other screen here. We got Flocious in Mole Mania. Looks like World 1 of Mole Mania. And Infinite Mystery finishing up the first boss in World 1 of Mole Mania.
Yeah, some girl sadly game overing in 4-1 or 4-2. So
4-2, yeah.
Yeah, having to restart because she did not find the secret path.
So for those of you that are just joining us, 4-2 of Titus the Fox, in order to trigger or get to the end of the level, you have to jump at a certain pixel on a wall to activate a hidden ladder to get to the end of the stage. Obviously, as a blind casual runner, you're going to know that exists. So, yeah, well-programmed game.
Hero making his way to the final boss of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. We'll finally know who did it.
So in this stage here, if you don't talk to Eddie and walk through the stages, you won't see the dip on the floor at all. But if you talk to Eddie, he'll show you the dip on the floor.
It's like getting infrared goggles in Metal Gear.
Yeah. So in this room, if you actually just run up the middle, it activates a trapdoor and you fall down to the bottom of the screen. Or fall down to the bottom floor again. Mother. It was Doom the whole time!
Yeah, it was Doc Brown from Back to the Future all along.
Who could have guessed that someone named Doom would be the bad guy in the game?
He was just slightly out of range there.
Came totally out of nowhere.
And down goes Doom. Much easier than the NES version. And he is now on to
you know it.
God.
Welcome to the most RNG game in the entire thing.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a action platformer, I would say, combined with a shmup. So the best thing of both worlds. As you can see, Hero has summoned his little fairy friend by selecting the third option in the boss menu, and whatever she does is completely random, and it could be up to 4 things, I believe. And for the stages, this is probably the best one, where she's using her magic staff, I suppose, to kill enemies in front of you. She can also give you a bow and arrow to take down enemies, but it does not do more damage or anything. There's a third one that I forgot, and then there's the one that you really want during the 2 platforming boss fights, at least, which is the big dude, as we call it, where you suddenly transform into a hulkified version of yourself, and then you can take down bosses with a lot less hits.
Is that like Amagon, where you get the powered up, you get sweet music and a real buff physique?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. I realized that referencing Amagon was maybe not the way to go as soon as I said
Yeah,
that.
I'm not sure what that is, but...
It's an NES game, and yeah, you collect items and then you become, I guess, I don't know if that's when you're Amagon or what the deal is. Anyway, you become a big giant version of yourself, and you
and Hero got it.
Uppercut lions, it's cool. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay. It's like Amagon.
Yeah.
So you want the buff guy because it makes the boss fights real fast.
Yep,
Otherwise,
okay,
like
totally.
The final fight is like, how many hits was it for the final fight?
The final fight normally takes 64 hits, which is a drag because the problem is that you can only take 2 hits in this game, so it gets really scary. But yeah, if you get the big dude, it takes 12 hits and it's over.
Yeah.
Can you still only take 2 when you're big dude?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
So the first one takes your fairy friend away, and the second It's just instant death. The way you get the fairy friend is either by picking up potions that come out of those boxes that you can hit, or getting 20 whatever those orbs are. Maybe beaches or something like that. I don't know if people actually know this anime. Maybe they can shed some light onto that, what is actually happening. But yeah, you can get her like that as well. If you already have and you get 20 peaches, you get an extra life, or you can pick up a frog. That's also an extra life.
What a game.
It is an amazing game. I really, really love this game.
These stages are long.
This one definitely is, yeah. Every time you see the screen shake, that is... that notifies you that something is gonna fall from the sky. They're all set, so it's not RNG or anything. Anyways, here we go. Because that's what you do. You suddenly transform into a helicopter, and then... what do you do in a helicopter? You fight Godzilla, of course.
You suddenly turn into a helicopter.
Yep.
I mean, this is a Japanese
I'm on board. This
game.
game's great. Yep.
Yeah, so Hiro found out that hug his face, he actually cannot hit you at all because the actual sprite of the boss does not have a hitbox. So you're just perfectly safe there.
Fantastic.
Of course it doesn't.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, now we're a shmup. Where
Is
we
it a
shoot...
goat?
Where
Is
we
that
shoot very... Yeah, it's a goat, yeah.
Why are the birds turning into goats?
Nobody knows, but it is amazing.
It's like spiritual warfare, man.
We have derpy pelicans and other birds that transform into goats.
How do you know that birds don't turn into goats when they get shot?
That is true.
I do
I've
know
never tried.
this.
How? You shot a lot of birds in a helicopter before?
Not in a helicopter, no.
Right, yeah, I'm saying. You don't know. They could be goat bullets. Every time a bird turns into a goat in this game, it's because he got shot by a goat bullet.
That pelican, does that pelican have a gun in its mouth?
Maybe. That pelican I don't know. Where are they? Might could be carrion. You know? I don't know, Japanese conceal and carry laws, but you know, it's possible.
Yes, your permit, Mr. Pelican.
So the continue system in this game actually world you do not have any, and then you do have some after that, but it's not really clear what gives you continues at all. But this stage actually is a great way to farm some extra lives, because there's like a part of it that gives you 3 extra lives, and if you die you respawn right in front of where those 3 lives were, so you can just keep collecting them if you want for some safety. And yeah, as you do after fighting Godzilla, you of course fight a huge pterodactyl in a helicopter.
I was hoping it was Mothra.
I mean, we can fudge it and say it's Mothra.
Yeah.
It's like Joe and Mac now.
Isn't there? Hang on a second. Let's see.
There probably
Godzilla.
I'm sure there's some sort of bird monster. I know Mothra.
Pterodactyl name. There you go. All right. Rodan. It's Rodan.
No, there we go.
Yeah. Which is technically a pterodon, but you know.
Yeah.
Close
but
enough.
yeah, after you defeat it, of course, you just transform back into a normal person and fall from the sky, and nothing bad will ever happen. Because that is the way of the anime.
I kind of want to watch this anime now after watching this game.
Yeah. The jump animation is fantastic in this game, by the way.
It is a very
it's
cool
really
sprite
good.
of the hero, whatever his name is.
Did that rock just hurt him?
Yeah.
There's a jellyfish that's in the middle of nowhere.
Those rocks are no fun.
So the jellyfish flying around in the air, that's no problem, but a goat flying in the air, that's a bridge too far.
Well, yeah, jellyfish are magical beings. Goats are not. They just climb mountains. Like, who cares about a goat? I've played enough Mario where, like, flying squids is whatever.
That's what I'm saying! Like, it's, you know, gotta respect the goat. Listen, if you knew the lore of this anime, I'm just saying, you would totally understand the goat circumstance. It all makes sense.
It might actually. Yeah.
That sound effect that Rock is making is the fire sound effect from Super Mario Land 1. Just throwing that out there for a fun fact.
There's a limited universe of sound effects on the Game Boy. There's some crossover every once in a while.
You can't shoot the rock?
Apparently not, no. Yeah, Hero's in the final stage now. There's a lot of potions here that give you invulnerability, so you can easily make it through it.
I need to check on this. It looks like Mr. PUBG has finished Indian game.
Yep.
On to Mole Mania.
Maybe taking a quick TO after that one.
Got legs in World 3 of Titus. And we got some girl on the internet in World 4 of Titus. Some girl taking it real safe, carrying around boxes with her. Definitely not a bad strategy by any means.
Yeah. So the final boss of Tururu is coming up, so can I see some big dudes in chat, please? I mean the words. I don't want to see actual big dude. Yeah, you know what.
Don't lie.
Whatever emotes you have to represent big dudes are fine.
I like how the little ball has a smiley face on it when it's rolling around.
Big Dudes, of course, the lesser-known sequel to Bad Dudes.
Dude.
Yeah.
Bad Dudes is a great game. What, do you fight a waifu? Like, what's going on here?
Hang on.
Wait yeah, no, suddenly there's a waifu.
Are you fighting the waifu?
Nah, you're fighting the devil. As you do after fighting Godzilla and Rodan. And that lady that throws balls at the start of the game.
But he didn't get the big dude.
Nope, it's still possible, because, these power-ups cycle. So, could still happen, but otherwise it's gonna take 64 hits to take this guy down.
So is this idiot just bounced around the screen?
Yeah, he basically does the same thing every time. Kinda manipulates where he's going, because if you don't hit him before he shoots, his jumping pattern changes, and then you have to move yourself across the screen the entire time. Otherwise, you can just jump on that block on the left and just dodge all of the bullets he's shooting.
It seems like a better version of Mario, not gonna lie.
Well, Hero's doing a fantastic... I'm ignoring that. Hero's doing a fantastic job of avoiding these hits. He has the pattern down pretty darn well. So, you know, at least doing what he can with these 64 hits he's got to get. Again, he can take 2 hits.
Yep.
So it's very balanced.
Yeah, the fairy is not giving him good RNG. She's always doing her own attack thingy. Which might screw up the pattern, by the way.
Very arrogant. Very conceited of the fairy, if you ask me.
Chad, I hope you're keeping count on the hits here. I know I have not.
Yep, that's 39.
And we got 40. The bow.
No, I totally made that.
I don't know, the bow might do more.
No.
The bow might actually do more damage, so I'm not sure. But I don't think it does at all.
At least he doesn't have to get quite as close. You know,
yeah, indeed. Nice. So yeah, we can still see it happen. It is.
He's gonna get 1 hit with the big guy, probably, and that'll be it. You know.
Nope, he went down the normal way.
64, there it is.
64. See there, check. Kept count the entire time.
Perfect.
All right, now we're on to Nemesis, Ultra Nemesis.
So the fairy is actually called Tururu.
Oh, okay. All right, this is not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Not yet.
Same company, no. So
Yeah, you had the ultra screen at first. You have that control swap screen and selecting your lives. Hero did put his lives up to 99. I'm sure at this point that is not going to be necessary for him. But what the heck? It's marathon day. Let's not mess around with that.
Yeah. So if y'all are familiar with Gradius, where you have where you collect the little oval things. At the bottom left corner of your screen, you're going to see those 6 rectangles turn into letters. Those indicate the type of power-up or upgrades that you'll have on your ship. So if you are at all familiar with Gradius, you will notice that some weapon upgrades will come at certain times, shields, the missiles from the bottom, speed upgrades, etc.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with those speed upgrades, of course. Probably gonna be getting 2, I would guess, in this game. That's typically what we get in Gradius games, to make sure that we have the full range of maneuverability that we'd like, but that way we're not going too crazy fast, because the game can get real hairy real quick if we are moving too fast. So right now, Hero's got one option. He's got his missiles, which appear to just be those appear to be the I forget what they're called. The missiles that travel down and then will go through objects as they careen across the bottom of the screen. So that's good. He's got the double shot, which is an angled shot that goes up and also straight in front of you. He can swap that for a laser at his convenience if he chooses to. I don't know what laser you have in this game, so he might just be sticking with double. Primarily, may switch over to laser for bosses. There you see, you had that L option right there for a second. And also he has the shield. Now, I'm not sure in this game if the shield covers only what you see in front of the ship, Vic Viper, or if it covers the entirety of the ship. It varies depending on the version of Gradius. In the NES version of Gradius, that shield will cover the entirety of the ship. In the TurboGrafx version, and presumably also in the arcade version, it only covers that area that the shield actually appears to be. So you got to be careful there, and as such, the shield becomes somewhat useless. So I don't know if you guys know how the shield works.
I believe it just covers the front of the ship.
Well, that stinks.
Nah, it's the entire thing.
Is it?
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, it's
well,
like
those were the
NES
two options, so we had a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, you'll see it getting used here for a quick kill on the boss, which did not really completely happen, but they may have.
Well, that seemed pretty quick to me. I gotta say, especially with a double shot.
But it can be even faster. But yeah.
All right. So now, Hero's got 2 options. That may be the full complement of options in this game. I know sometimes they pare it down. Okay, yeah. So you only had 2 in the Game Boy version here. Pretty standard. Same as what we see in the NES version.
Yeah. In this stage, you'll see the Hero going into the bonus stage and then killing himself. So that warps. But then you also, of course, lose all your power-ups. So it's a gamble if you want to take it, but with the 99 lives at least, it's not that big of a deal, of course.
Yeah, I mean, we should talk, though, about how bad it can be to lose all your power-ups in a Gradius game, because the game's pretty punitive when it comes to taking a death. You go back to... Really, the worst part is you go back to your starting speed, but also you have to level back up your main weapon, your missiles, if you want to go get your options back, and then your shield, of course. So, you have a lot of enemies that you need to kill. Fortunately, so far, it seemed in this game, very generous with the drops. So it seems like you can probably get leveled back up without too much of a hassle. But, depending on where you take a death in the game, it's a pretty risky proposition to lose all of your power-ups.
Yeah, in this one it's pretty easy to get back on track for sure. It's one of the easier versions of Gradius that there is. So, yeah, it's always worth checking this one out before diving into a harder one.
For these items that you see dropping, a lot of them look very similar. There's one that looks a little bit different. That's a crush, which will clear a lot of the enemies from the screen. Some enemies, some of the bigger enemies will not be cleared out when you collect that item, but that's the alternate item that he is able to pick up. That spawns, I think, after every 8 drops, every 10, something like that, every 12. It's on an interval that I don't know the number of off the top of my head.
So there's our first death warp right there.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's very nice that when you go to the bonus stages here, it warps you to the start of the next stage. Say in Gradius 3, for example, if you were to die during one of the bonus stages, you would actually go back to where you entered the bonus stage without your power-ups. So you'd be losing extra time on top of the whole, having no items at that point. So it is a really advantageous situation in this game where you can hit the bonus and then warp right on ahead to the start of the next stage, which is not that bad as far as getting power back up. You see already he's got his shield back, just prioritizing that defense and staying right now. He's still got his base weapon. He hasn't switched over to double yet, which is probably what he's going to want for the Moai head stage. It's typically what we see a lot of runners use throughout the series. Fun fact, a lot of people don't know this. Konami actually created Easter Island. They own the property, and they put the Moai heads there as a fantastic marketing tool. That's why you see them throughout so many of their games in history.
It's true, yeah. It's actual facts right there.
I mean, like you got so many non-gamers that are baffled by Moai heads. Like, what's Easter Island all about? It's a marketing tool for Konami. Come on, guys.
Yeah, if you visit
Play a video game.
If you visit those islands right now, they're all turned into pachinko machines.
That's true. Yeah, you actually, you put the quarter in, and then the balls come out of the mouth, and you just gotta keep stacking them up.
That's incredible marketing, actually, on their part, just to get sales up.
So, do you think in Nemesis the same warps exist? Like, if you killed, what was it, like 10 Moa heads or whatever it was?
I think it's 10. Yeah. And then you have to get behind a special one. Okay, so in the NES version, it works differently in all the different versions. So in the NES one, I think it's kill 10 Moais and then complete the stage, and then you warp from, I want to say it's from stage 3 to stage 5. I forget exactly, or maybe it's 4 to 6. Or
something like that.
Yeah, I forget like exactly where the Moai stages comes in. I know for for Gradius 3, there's a warp you can do. I don't know if you're required to kill a certain amount of Moai heads, but you're definitely required to get behind a certain Moai head to trigger the warp, and then you'll, you just go through and you skip the rest of that stage, which is important. It's interesting now because, they have that SA1 update for Gradius 3 that reduces all of the lag, which Gradius 3, unfortunately, is kind of known for. It's still a wonderful game for the Super Nintendo, but there's quite a bit of lag. It's a launch game for the system, so they pressed it as far as they could, and it doesn't have that blast processing. So what are you going to do? So they reduced that, but that was one of the great advantages of taking the Moai stage warp in Gradius 3 for SNES, because you could avoid all the super laggy end game of the Moai head stage. And a great boss fight from Granon there. As you can see, it takes up darn near the entire screen, so very important to get out of the way and drop some missiles on it.
Yeah, he didn't go for the quick kill. That's mainly because of safety. He does have the world record at this point, so he doesn't have to do it right now. But yeah, I'm not sure if there's actual warps in this game. It is nice to see that people have found those bonus stages at least to skip some parts. So maybe there's still hidden things definitely in this game. So yeah, that's kind of the point of the Tiny 10, to make people aware that these games exist and that actual people start digging into them and finding some cool things that might completely change the leaderboards as they are right now.
So we're here in the Bone Graveyard stage. Obviously, they've taken some liberties from the original arcade version. This is a stage that doesn't appear in the NES version. Instead of having the bones break off of the dinosaurs and create hazards that you can destroy in the stage, looks like they're sending some indestructible blocks your way, which is probably a pretty nice compromise to not overload the Game Boy and still give you some nasty situations to find yourself in. Hero's handling it perfectly. He's shooting everything that he can. He's really never letting off the trigger as far as shooting goes, which is what he can get away with. There's really not a lot of slowdown it seems like he has to deal with. And frankly, he's at a point in the race right now where, he can afford to deal with a little bit of extra slowdown that he may be creating. Although, like I say, it doesn't really look like that's a consideration for this version of the game.
Yeah, I think the frame rate for this game is pretty much locked. It is just laggy from the start, so you don't know
Yeah, it's just a little bit of slow movement, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's holding up. And there you go. You see the crush right there that cleared the screen that he picked up.
Yeah, I'm
Which
pretty
gave it
much
a pretty opportune
thinking.
time, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty much thinking of putting Nemesis 2 in the next Tiny 10, which
Okay,
moves a lot faster than this game.
So right there,
That
you
is
saw him hit the warp into the bonus game and then immediately take a death. So he's going to start over on the next stage, start getting his items back. Goes with a missile first. That's his standard strategy. Get a little bit extra firepower, especially going through these narrow corridors where you can find yourself being shot at and not really have anywhere to move out of the way. He's able to get rid of the gun on the ground as he goes through there. And he has these Zebs that are spawning. Sometimes they're called Zubs, sometimes they're called Zebs, sometimes they're called Zabs. I usually just stick with Zebs. Oh, and he gets hit from behind right there. I don't think that was intentional. I think that ship just got in on him.
Definitely not intentional.
It's interesting here. It looks like he's not going immediately for the speed up. He's going for missile first. And his movement is actually pretty decent here, so he may not really need to get any speed ups in this game. Which is very different strategy from a lot of Gradius games. Usually you're so slow when you start off at the beginning of a game or after taking a death in these games. But it looks like you got pretty good movement in this game, starting from square one.
Yeah, you normally just want one speed up, so...
Okay. It looks like he's going to focus on getting the shield here first, get a little bit of defense, which makes a lot of sense because he's got a ton of enemies collapsing in on him right now. So there you go. Okay, so he's got the force shield. It's interesting. This is... It's not really the force shield, but it was the F item on there. The force shield typically is the fiery shield that surrounds the entirety of Vic Viper. That would probably be difficult to distinguish in the Game Boy version, so they've gone with the standard barrier shield here, but still use the F indicator in the bar at the bottom.
I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. There's so much color in the Game Boy.
Well, it may be like a little bit weird to show off a little bit extra energy surrounding Vic Viper here, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think in Sagaya, how types of shield, so it was definitely possible.
Yes, yeah, okay, yeah, that's a good, yeah, Sagaya, aka Darius, yeah.
Yeah.
How is that version on Game Boy?
It is very hard.
Yeah,
that's all I can say. I can so far. So
this is
Darius
the final stage.
Oh, fantastic! Okay. Yeah, Darius is a real up and down, not genre, up and down series as far as difficulty goes.
Mm.
So some really crazy, stupid hard games and some very easy games. So obviously, if you see runners coming in here blind, they're going to have a tough time knowing to dodge. I mean, they'll probably figure it out by this point that they should stay out of the way of the little narrow corridors until they see something go past them. But and we're going to see is this the final boss here for this game, or do we have another one after this?
It is.
This is the final boss. Yeah.
Wow, this is actually a boss that puts up a little bit of a fight. How about that? Not much, but he did actually shoot. So
put up something. Now we're on to the hardest game, in my opinion, of the list, which is Batman Return of the Joker on easy difficulty. Yeah, basically. One of the biggest speed movements optimizations to this game is being good with your grappling hook. Way easier said than done.
Oh yes.
I don't believe there's any continues in this game either, is there?
Nah, you have 3 lives, and that's literally it.
Wow.
So but there is a level select, though. And we play on easy because the water doesn't hurt us.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. I was going to say, he's hanging out in the water there, not seeming to take damage. But yes, the water can damage you on other difficulties.
Very much so. Yeah.
Also, and this water that's falling here, you can be knocked down, obviously, by it. So he's going to bide his time. And there we go. First screen over. Now, oh, fun fact. This is a game that I actually... the only time I ever played this game was for a Speed Gaming League race. I had to. This was the intermediate game. You know, back when you'd have a game that you learned, and then you'd have a blind game that you played. And this is the blind game. It was tough. It was tough.
No kidding, this is a really, really hard game, and speedrun is even harder to do perfectly. Like the world record time at this point is 4 minutes and let me see here if I can find it.
Wow, 4
4 minutes and 59 seconds.
Holy
so
cow.
You will not be seeing that of any of the runners here
Oh
today.
yeah, I remember these crates
It's
falling. Oh, they
crazy.
smash you on the head if you're not careful, and you're dead. Oh, it's no good. All right.
Yeah, it's a crazy time. What Hero did, which is something that the world record doesn't do, he picked up one of the health extenders. There's one in every stage except for the train stage. But yeah, the world record only picks up the one in the final stage, which you can only play if you've beaten the other 3 stages first. But you can do these in any order you actually want.
Yeah, and another feature of this game is whenever you pick up a weapon, you're forced to use that weapon. You can't like switch it out and save it for later or anything of that.
So yeah, he's gonna pick up another one of those health extenders here, just for safety during this marathon. And for casual play, I would also very much recommend. Yeah, weirdly enough, this is one of the only Batman games ever made which features literally the C list of enemies of Batman. I don't think
Joker,
a lot of
for
people.
example.
Yeah, Joker is the only one, of course, that appears everywhere, but Foul Play or Shogun or whatever this one is, you do not really hear much about.
Yeah, I never knew in the NES version of this game, which is very different from this version. I never knew if those were enemies that actually existed in Batman lore, or if they were just
Or if they originally
dudes that you fought in video game, you know?
Might be. Yeah, I don't know them from Batman at least. So.
Yeah.
It's like Hero missed one of his grappling hooks there, so he's got to wait for the column of debris to get created.
Yeah, the grappling is deceptively difficult. I mean, Heroes made it look pretty easy so far, but you know, getting your momentum down and getting the timing down to keep the swinging going on the ceiling is not as simple as it may seem.
Yeah, he's making the controls look fairly easy too. The controls are actually quite slippery in this game.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So yeah, this is Shogun Warrior. You just lock him in a corner and you punch, and he's gone.
Fantastic.
And now we're going to the train stage, which has Foul Play as the boss, also known as Batman. You'll see why.
The music is so good. God.
This music of this stage is exceptionally great. It is a Sunsoft game, so the music is of course great, but this one is so good.
I always love that about Game Boy games. I'm always pleasantly surprised with how good a lot of the soundtracks are for games that I have little experience with.
Definitely, yeah. They did some amazing things with the limitations there.
Really impressive. I mean, the NES, yeah, what they did with the NES is super impressive, but they had to scale that back even more so for the Game Boy and still have really high fidelity quality for the most part. Well, not necessarily for the most part, but in a lot of cases.
So yeah, as you can see, Batman versus Batman. And he's gone. Trying to suplex a train does not work in this game, sadly.
When is Final Fantasy VI Game Boy going to be in one of the Tiny Tens? That's a game, right?
No, sadly it is not.
What a shame.
There are no Final Fantasy games.
Well, hey, you got suplexes in the bottom left right there.
Yeah,
though.
we got Mole Mania. We got
That's true,
Collection.
yeah.
You know, you got Suplex City up in here.
But it's not a train, though. So
That's true.
We got Brock Lesnar over here.
Suplexing gigantic cartoon bombs is pretty good too, if you ask me.
We got Brock Lesnar German suplexing cabbages, man. I don't know. So we got some girl on Mega Man 3. Is that Sparkman stage? Looks like Sparkman stage.
Yeah.
Legs is on World 4 1 or 4 2. I can't. 4 something, I think. Titus. Mr. PUBG in World 1 of Mole-Mania, I believe. Flocious is in Titus the Fox. Looks like World 1. And Infinite Mystery is in World 2 of Mole-Mania. Looks like getting to the final boss, or the second boss. Right?
Yeah, and Hero is beating up the first form of the Joker. He does have 2 forms in this game.
Man, this is a really quick game.
Yeah.
I saw that goal of beat the game, and I was like, whoa, man, Mo, that's ambitious. And then I didn't realize it was as short as it was.
Yeah, if you know how to handle the grappling hook, it's over before you know it.
Yeah, and Hero certainly did, because he made short work of the game. And now he is on to game number 9, the penultimate game here in Tiny 10 number 9. It is the Mohawken Tomato, known as Quirk.
Fun fact, I used to speedrun this game.
That is a fun fact. Tell us about this game, EBC.
You push some blocks around and you gotta get to the steps.
All right. So we'll sit in silence for the next 4 or 5 minutes.
Not even, because this is a 2-minute run.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. For the next 2 minutes while Hero goes through this.
Quirk is like, I used to have Record and Amazing Tater, which is the sequel to this. Another fun
That's amazing.
fact. Yeah. Quirk is a little bit different than Tater because Quirk offers friends at a faster
tomato instead of a potato. So yeah, pretty different.
It's true. But Quirk, you have friends. So right here on Hero screen, you have a friend right away, where you have to press select and have your friend help you push a block to the square. Amazing Tater, you really don't get that at all until way late in the game and much harder stages. This goal is all the puzzles are predetermined, and basically if you played it a couple times, just memorize what needs to happen and you're good to go. Everything that's on like a little pivot like that can move in all like around the bolt or around the pivot as need be. The only downfall to that is if there's blocks or a wall in the way, but for the most part, this game is exceptionally easy.
So there is, I assume, some way to reset a room if you do something dumb that you mean to by accident.
Yeah, you can press pause and restart the room if you need to. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward game. You have to get all of your little friends to the end as well too. So if your room has more than just Quirk in it, you have to get everyone into the exit. So that was Quirk.
That was it.
Oh, hey, Quirk's over. I blinked and I missed it.
Yeah. Now for the best LGN game on Game Boy.
Wow, let's not get too crazy. True Lies was pretty good.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty. But this one is better, though.
Alien 3 is pretty good.
Yeah, but this one is still better, though.
So with Punisher, the ultimate payback, yeah, I mean, you can kind of sort of speedrun it. It's an auto-scroller shooter game. The biggest thing with this game is knowing where the health kits are and where the 1-ups are. There's no indication that you're getting shot at all. Like, your screen doesn't flash or anything. You just get shot.
Yeah, you definitely also do not want to shoot the innocent bystanders. That will cost you.
Miss the woman, miss the baby.
Yeah.
Spider-Man gets real mad when you shoot the innocent people.
It's true. Because
this
game
what are they
does
doing in the
Spider-Man.
war zone, man? Like, I'm just going to do my casual shopping in this hostage situation. No problem.
Going to Target real quick, hon. Oh, how was your day? Oh, nothing. I mean, machine guns here and there.
Target,
no big deal.
Target, I get it. Very smart.
So there is one upgrade you can get through, changes your grenades into what I think is a rocket launcher, which does more damage. I've only have found one of them in stage 2, in the docks level, but apparently there are definitely more. Probably one in each stage. But yeah, that does a little bit more damage to bosses, because other enemies die in basically one hit. So getting that is cool. The problem is, of course, if you lose a life, you also lose that upgrade. So
Right. So here, Spider-Man popped up on the screen. If you don't kill any innocent people at all, Spider-Man will say, "Hey, nice job." But if you kill innocent people, Spider-Man gets really mad at you.
Well, you know what? Then he could actually save some of the innocent people. How about that? What's Spider-Man doing? He's just
Peter.
judging.
Peter doesn't know what he's doing. All right.
Ridiculous. You know what? You want something done right? You got to do it your own self, Spider-Man. All right. Trying to do a speed run here.
Yeah. See how much
See,
slower
there
it
you
is.
go. Now he's helping. All
See
right.
how much slower it was for Spider-Man to come save that woman? You could have just, killed the innocent bystander and been done with it.
No, hey, listen. As long as he's going to swoop in and save him, that's fine. But if he's going to tell you how to handle your business, you're not called the Saber. You're called the Punisher.
That's right.
I mean, come on. Let a little thought into the process there, Pete.
This boss is the worst. As you can see, Hero's taking damage, but there's no indicator that he's taking damage at all.
Other than his life bar going down.
Right.
yeah.
Is that Mr. Big from Narc that you just fought?
Hey, cowboy.
It's not. It can't be Kingpin yet because it's the first stage.
Oh, Kingpin is not even in this game. So.
Yeah, no.
Well, okay, fine then.
Also, we never see Spider-Man again.
No,
Oh, okay.
we're done with him.
Okay, so I have a question about speaking of characters we see. Do we actually see the Punisher in this game at any point?
In the end cutscene.
At the end, yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
But you're the
Say, 'cause,
Punisher.
like, it could be any game, you know.
It pretty much could be, yeah.
It could be the Terminator.
Could be a Terminator. Could be Operation Wolf, GB or something.
I would have loved to see that.
I mean, we can't see the Punisher as we're in the Punisher's point of view, so...
Well, yeah, but at some point, like, he'd be in a cutscene or something, right? But if he's at the end, I think that's okay.
So yeah, there should be one of those upgrades around somewhere. Don't ask me where, though. I just suddenly had it.
Looks like Infinite Mystery is on Titus right now as well. Flocius is on stage 4 of Titus. Some Girdle is on Snake Man of Mega Man 3. Legs is on stage 4 of Titus. And Mr. PUBG is on... What is that? World 1, World 2, Momania?
They kind of look too similar, so I never really know which one it is.
It's tough.
It is either stage 1 or stage 2 of Molmania.
Yeah.
Probably not stage 3.
That would be weird. So yeah, here's a second boss fight, which is a boat. And you blow it up.
This is the one if you have like the RPG or whatever, it just like goes down like 4 hits, right?
Yeah, indeed. You basically shoot up 25% of the boat in one hit.
While the people driving the forklifts are shooting at you, so you go and take them down.
Yeah, now it's stage 2.
Baby game.
It really is not that hard of a game. The first time you play it blind, it will be, but...
There was the
there's
Punisher.
Punisher. There he is. All right. Punisher game confirmed. Although I would say we've seen more of Spider-Man, so right now I'm thinking it's a Spider-Man game more than
Spider-Man 4 Game Boy. Peter
Spider-Man
Parker-
actually was in part of the gameplay, you know?
Peter Parker's Revenge.
Is there a good Spider-Man game for Game Boy?
Yeah, all of them. For different reasons.
One has a charm to it.
Yeah. I really like the second and the
Okay,
third.
but I don't know what
They're
that
not
means
good.
coming from you, EBC.
One is just really not marathon or race safe at all.
Yeah.
'Cause you
And the
take-
second one isn't
death-
either, to be.
You death abuse so much in the first one, and you have limited continues. It's so hard.
Yeah, none of them offer a limited continue, sadly. But the second one I like a lot because it's more of an exploration game. The third one is just weird, but I kind of love it. It just takes. If you would play it blind, you would have past any of the first 3 stages in Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, if you play Spider-Man 1 blind, you'll get to like the 4th stage and just get owned.
Yeah.
Until you realize how to use your web. Then you fight Doc Ock and don't know what to do.
Yeah, and get destroyed.
You get destroyed by Doc Ock.
Yeah, the second one, besides being like you have to explore and find certain items to get through it, the final part of the game requires you to swing on a quote-unquote roller coaster, and it is so awful if you do not know when to go up or down on your web, or when even to swing left or right to avoid obstacles, because one hit of any of the obstacles on that one and you die.
Yeah, there's no iframes in the first Spider-Man, so if you sit inside of an enemy, your health bar just drained as
Hero making his way to the 4th stage of the Punisher. You do not want to shoot the ducks.
Don't shoot the ducks.
They are your friends, unless they suddenly pop out of the water and there's a game. Shoot.
Do they go quackers if you shoot them?
Well, you,
No, but you will lose
you
your
lose a life.
Like, not even health, it's just like, it's
You
gone
lose
now.
one up,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, if you run short on lives, you could always put it on their bill.
Well, somebody asked for the Punisher, so here you go.
Ah, that's why it's called Punisher.
Yeah, somebody
I
in chat
get it.
wanted it, so there you go.
Ah.
I do this enough of the
If
podcast.
you don't like, if you don't like the puns, just let them roll off the duck's back. It'll be fine. It's not even a pun. That's just how ducks work. Water, just physics.
Yeah, there's not much you can say about the Punisher, to be fair.
It really isn't. It's just,
just a shooter, yeah.
watch it happen. Next
It
time
is
we'll
one
have,
of the. It is one of the only 2 rail shooters on Game Boy.
next time we'll have the Terminator arcade game.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that to people. That one actually is not that great. Anyone can participate for sure.
Oh look, I'm Angry Mo ahead.
He looks suspicious. Don't tell anybody that I ate Jeff's lunch. Oh, there's Arnold. He's hanging out, chilling in this pond.
Yeah, Deadly, even your mom can join.
Speaking of Arnold, that new Terminator movie is gonna be lit.
Is it though?
Okay. Sure.
Looking at the trailer, I'm not sure about that.
They've all been good since Terminator 2, so
Yeah.
no concern.
Definitely. Yeah, 3 was alright.
Yeah, 3 wasn't bad.
One's the best one anyway.
That's true. I will agree with that.
Yeah, there you go. It's almost the perfect movie. It's almost the perfect movie. I don't want to spoil it for anyone who maybe hasn't seen it due to not being alive that long, but
You had 39 years almost to actually see
not
it.
necessarily. Some people could be
Some
youngsters, you know?
Yeah.
I don't need to go out of my way to spoil the movie, is what I'm saying, you know?
Mhm.
Like, it's okay, I can hold off on it. But it's almost a perfect movie, is what I'm saying. That's all.
I will agree that Terminator 1 is the best of them all. You know what movie they need a remake is Alien 3.
Well, yeah, because Alien 3 is horrible, but
So they should remake it like all those Star Wars movies and also the last season of Game of Thrones.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
because the internet.
I did. Yeah, never mind. I'm not gonna get into that subject.
Yeah, it's probably the best not to. I just wanted to, have a laugh. That's all. We can move
God.
on.
The fact that they're making a new Bill and Ted, though, man.
Dude, I know.
That I don't know about.
No, are you serious? Of
it's-
all the things?
it's perfect.
Yeah, it's perfect.
It's gonna be so amazing.
It's gonna be excellent.
Even if it stinks, it's fine. It's a Bill and Ted movie. Who cares?
Yeah.
It can be kind of stinky and still be good.
Can I get a Bill and Ted video game on the PS4 then?
I don't know that anyone wants that. Have you
Yeah.
ever played the NES one?
Or the Game
Holy
Boy
cow.
one. Or the
Is
Game Boy one.
Oh boy. Which Tiny 10 was that in?
Not yet.
None.
Oh, okay. So look forward to that. Day and date with the release of Bill and Ted's Wild Return or whatever it's called.
Fighting the Punisher.
Hey, I'm in the foreground.
He can do that, yeah. Hero actually found a kind of a way to soft lock him in the background.
Oh, that's cool.
So, well, not soft lock, like that
No,
he
but,
stays
like,
in the
stun
background.
Lock him back there, yeah.
Yeah, lock him in the background.
So does Hero just have infinite lives at this point? Because I keep seeing him die, and then it still says 9 every time.
He's
Yeah, he
grabs
has a
a lot
lot
of
more
them.
than 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Alright.
Yeah, that was
overflowed.
it.
Did he win?
Hero won.
All right, hey, congratulations, Granite Hero! Taking the
Sub
victory.
2 hours.
Sub 2 hours in Tiny 10 number 9. A wonderful performance all throughout the day.
Yeah, looks like Hero. I don't know where my SRL. Looks like Hero has a time of 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 16
that's
seconds.
really good.
Look at that. Fantastic. A dominant performance from Hero.
Some girl would be in second place.
That's right,
Yep.
yes.
Yep.
On Mega
Yep.
Man 3 here.
Looks like Legs is
Mega
in.
Man stage.
Yeah, Legs is in World 5 of Titus right now. It looks like the bonus stage. So she should have no problem getting through the rest of the game because World 6 is exceptionally easy. Mr. PUBG on the second boss of Mole Mania, knocking out the Sunboy. And we have Flocious on World 2 of Titus the Fox. And Infinite Mystery on World 3 of Titus the Fox. I see a bunch of mayonnaise.
So Titus the Fox seems to be the sticking point for most people so far.
It's a slippery slope.
Some girl has surpassed it, but has certainly spent their time on the game as well.
Oh, Rush Coil. I wanted Rush Coil before.
We will try to get Hero in here for sure, but probably
fantastic.
give him a little break now that he...
All right, and Pop has said goodbye to the sun. Mr. Sun, Mr. Golden Sun, please get in the water and die.
Yeah.
God, listen to that Titus music. It's so good. I like the fact that we first boot up Titus the Fox, it just has the big Titus face, like, right away. You just
Yeah.
know it's going to be good.
It's definitely music. By definition, it is definitely music.
It's no Sunsoft, but I mean...
But what the hell is?
It's true. So you can see Flocious here in World 3. No, this is World 2. This is 2-2 if you don't know about the shortcut. This stage is a complete nightmare, normally. Because you have to do some pretty precise jumps across some platforms. It kind of sucks. And the ball is useless, like you can't use the ball to hurt anything at all. You just bounce on it. So legs are showing off a little glitch there where you can actually clip yourself onto the platform above you if you jump on the outermost pixel of a corner. I see in chat, Blues Brothers on NES is a classic good game. They're both relatively good. There's two for the Game Boy. They're actually not too bad.
Yeah, I don't know how anyone would play Blues Brothers without the knowledge of the speedrun. It seems like it would be just...
It's hard.
Disaster. Yeah.
It's hard. Even on Game Boy, like you're just like, I don't know where to go or what to do. But I mean, for the most part, they're not terrible games. They are fun. So like Legs is playing it pretty safe here. Not sure if Legs knows exactly where to go, but I think she gets the idea of what needs to happen. As this is the final stage, and she is on the final building in Titus the Fox right now.
As far as blind games go in this marathon, is Titus the nastiest customer that we're dealing with here?
Titus is probably the most tricky, just because of all of the hidden platforms and ladders that a person needs to take.
Right. Hey, there we go.
There it is. Titus is a pretty easy game.
Right.
For the most part, it's just if you don't know how to trigger secret platforms, you'll never finish levels. So that in itself is not very blind friendly by any means at all.
Right.
As far as probably the hardest game coming into it blind, I honestly think Batman Return of the Joker is
that's
the hardest
tough game. So we had in the bottom right there some girl on the internet getting Gemini down to 1 bar of health left before taking the death herself. This time it's looking better. There it is.
Way better, yeah. So something to note with the seeking snakes is that you can shoot 3 at once, but once you shoot 3 at once, you can't do anything at all.
Right.
So typically you just want to shoot 1 snake at a time and have it hit the boss, so you can still have 2 backup if you do miss 1 shot.
If I had to guess right now, I would say that Legs is looking up the boss order here. No shame in that. Hey,
no
listen.
shame in that at all. Shadow Spark Gemini Snake, by the way.
Little bit of foreknowledge goes a long way, especially if you're coming in blind to a Mega Man game.
Actually, casually, or not casually, but safety, you probably want to go Snake before Gemini, but just because Snake is the weakness of Gemini, but I think...
Is Shadow still a soft weakness in this game? I think we saw that, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So, I mean, that's not too bad.
You typically start Shadow first, regardless. In this
it's
game,
certainly an easier weapon to use than the Search Snake.
Oh, yeah. So you can see Flocious there, not taking the Mario route above the stage at all. I'm assuming because he's doing this blind, and they don't know that they can jump above the stage like that. Also, as you can see, when Titus is holding a crate, Titus can't jump up to the platform that they're trying to get up onto. So, good stuff. Like I said, I think some girl is safe. Like even if she does take a game over here, I think she'll have 2 lives right as Susie, full energy, full everything. When she gets to that point. It looks like she is onto Shadow right now with no extra lives, and I don't even know what Shadow's weakness actually is in this game, since we always start with Shadow.
Yeah, I have no idea.
It's not gonna be Top Man because
well, no.
there's no Top Man.
I guess it's the Gemini laser then, but maybe not.
Huh. I mean, I guess by process of elimination it would have to be, right?
Yeah, but yeah, unless it's a weapon that just gets used on one of the other 4 robot masters, but I don't think Gemini laser gets used at all in this game.
Well, it could be like a useless weapon as well too, just like was it Crash Man's weapon in Mega Man?
Probably not though. Well, we'll see now if it is.
Wait, what?
And it is.
Oh,
yeah.
you mean... I'm sorry. I was like, Crash Man's weapon's not worthless in Mega Man 2, but you meant the Game Boy version.
Game Boy, yeah. No, it's great in NES Mega Man.
Right, yeah. It's quite vital, in fact.
Oh, look at that bounce. Kobe.
My day's made.
Some girl onto the Susie fight, and then from there, alright, I forgot what game they go into. Oh, Batman. Or is it Quirk? I don't remember. I think it's Batman.
Not Batman, then Quirk. Oh, well, actually, after Mega Man 3,
Yeah.
Roger Rabbit, and then Magical Tarururu, and then Nemesis, and then Batman.
Oh, I thought
Quirk.
Mega Man was way later.
Yeah.
But one of the harder games is right away, Mo. Rude.
It's not that tough.
Alright, so here goes Legs. Shadow Man first. Legs is rested and ready. Good to go for some Mega Man action.
You gotta rest those legs when you're going fast.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to get a cramp.
Don't want shin splints at all.
No. No indeed.
A chocolate break, okay. As a person from Belgium, I approve of that. That and beer breaks, so choose your poison.
Chocolate beer.
Those exist, yeah.
I'm sure they do. Of course they do.
And they're not bad, if you get a good one at least.
Yeah.
It's a hint of chocolate, not
Yeah.
completely. Because, before people start
No,
thinking
all you do, you take whatever beer you have and you mix some chocolate milk into it,
yeah,
and then that's how you get chocolate beer.
Yeah.
You can do it yourself at home. It's
Sounds
just that easy.
Sounds like a terrible idea.
That sounds like a really bad idea. Don't do that, anyone. Unless you're a big fan of vomit, I guess. Because that would probably happen.
people do weird stuff, so...
That is true.
Yeah,
I mean, I know
you
some...
drop the egg in the beer, and you drink the raw egg and you drink it like that.
That's a thing.
That's a thing. Yeah.
It is a thing, yeah. I also know that there's one restaurant here that actually serves fries with chocolate sauce. So
Oh, that sounds delicious.
That I've actually had that. It's not bad. Fries with chocolate sauce isn't too bad.
I will never in my life do that.
It's like salty chocolate. It's real good.
Okay, so I don't know if I should. I don't know if the world is ready for this.
Oh no.
But we set it up now, so I have to. I'm telling you, this is gonna sound insane as I say it. Okay? I understand. I understand everyone's apprehension. But I'm telling you that you gotta go chicken nuggets and Reese's Cups. You can do it however you like, whatever your preferred ratio is. You can make a little sandwich out of it. It's the truth. I'm telling you.
I won't knock it. Like, I try it.
I know there's going to be a segment of chat now that is going to be disgusted by that, and you're going to want me to leave. I completely understand, but I'm telling you, it is the greatest. Also, fun fact, if you're ever doing a 100 nugget challenge, it makes the nuggets go down a lot easier after you get past about 70. When that sodium's really kicking in and crushing you into dehydration.
Why would you eat 100 nuggets?
For the challenge of it. And because you had $20 lying around. I don't know, nugs probably aren't $5 for 20 of them anymore, but
I have no idea.
I guess it'd be $25. I know math. I actually forgot a little bit of math doing all the sodium that it ends up being like 4,800 calories or something, or maybe more than that. I forget exactly, but like the amount of sodium. You've done
this.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm not like making. I would never suggest that someone do this without firsthand knowledge. I respect the good people watching us on Speed Gaming way too much. But I'm just saying, if you like salty sweet and you like chocolate in particular, Reese's Cups and chicken nuggets, it goes down real smooth. If you're into that sort of thing. Some people have tried it. They were skeptics and they ended up loving it. Some people tried it and thought it was gross. So, you got to know your own tastes in life. But
like, it definitely sounds weird, but I do like salty chocolate, so I probably like. I'm
not the biggest chocolate person in the world. I do like Reese's Cups though. So, and I love me a chicken McNugget. So, that was a thing born out of necessity because you hit a wall around 70. But then I was like, wow, okay, we're just going to power through now.
Let's do this. All around like 10.
Yeah. That would be that by the end of that.
It's it's all of the ill effects of being drunk without all the fun of being drunk. Because you're just so dehydrated. You get like kind of loopy, crappy feeling. It's like you go straight from before you drank to hungover. That's what it feels like. It's terrible, but
sounds great.
You don't need to eat 100 of them to do this, is my point.
While you're at it, might as well.
I mean, sure.
If you're gonna eat 10, might as well eat 100.
If you're in the States, it's a long weekend. What else you got to do?
Go
get yourself 100 nugs, get a pack of the Reese Cups. The individually foiled wrapped ones would be my suggestion, but to each their own.
Going to SGD Cube, might as well just eat 100 nuggets with some Reese's Cups.
Hey, you know what? There's worse ways to spend your time at a GDQ.
That is not wrong.
So Legs has gotten through Shadow Man stage. We see, of course, some girl on the internet on Metal Gear Rabbit, which is I think this has become my favorite game of this tiny town.
Metal Gear Roger.
Watch this. This is an awesome game.
Solid Rabbit.
Metal Gear. Colonel, what's a tomb doing here?
Nano machine.
Oh, bye, Jessica. See you later.
Colonel, Meryl's been taken.
I just backtrack a while and get a sniper rifle. We'll be fine. She won't bleed out. It'll be okay.
We'll just submit in the torture chamber and let her take our spot.
You have to. It's a speed run.
Yeah. Gotta save Otacon.
Yeah.
He's more vital in the series than she is.
Right? I always thought that he died if you didn't save him. And then I was like very confused in Metal Gear Solid 2. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah. I was more
And then you get more confused as the series goes on.
Right. I was more confused in Metal Gear 4 when
well,
she's like a captain of like a platoon. I'm like, I could let you die in the first one.
There's a lot of reasons to be confused in Metal Gear Solid 4, but I love Metal Gear Solid 4. I love 2 as well.
I love watching that movie. It's really good.
There's a lot of cutscenes in that game. That's for sure.
I watch Outer Heaven play it quite a bit with their marathons.
Yeah.
And they usually skip their cutscenes. The game itself without cutscene is something like an hour, or it's like
of course it is.
It's like 3 or 4 hours long, and that's it. But with cutscenes, it's like a 20-some hour game.
I love that game.
I like Metal Gear 4. Don't get me wrong. I really do like Metal Gear 4, but it opens up a lot of holes into the story. And then when Phantom Pain came out, then there were more holes to open up in the story.
I still haven't played Phantom Pain. I don't know. Listen, I ride or die with David Hayter, okay? It is Kiefer Sutherland nonsense.
Kiefer didn't do too bad.
That's not the point.
It's not David Hayter for sure.
That's not the point.
Haven't played through Phantom Pain either, but the intro at least was real. So
Ground Zeroes was fine.
I don't mean the prologue.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right.
Ground Zeroes? Yeah, that was good too. That was a good demo.
Yeah, that was a very good demo. Anyways, we're trying to get Hero in here.
Hey, okay, there he's in the channel, and we'll get him up in the voice chat in just a hot second, everyone.
Snake is not Snake in any way or form. That is wrong.
Yeah, it's Big Boss, and I don't even like Big Boss, so I don't even care that it's Kiefer Sutherland doing the voice.
Yeah, but they already... Okay, so Hero's here. Hero, you gotta settle a debate for us. Congrats on winning and whatnot. But okay, David Hayter or Kiefer Sutherland for Big Boss.
I'm so bad at actors, I can't really.
old voice for Snake or new Kiefer Sutherland dumb voice for Snake?
I was saying like the old voice. I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't lead the question or anything. It's fine. I didn't lead Okay. All right. So in all seriousness, though, Hero, congratulations on winning Tiny 10 number 9. A fantastic sub 2 hour performance. How are you feeling right now, man?
Yeah, I'm drinking a Dr. Pepper at the moment and just taking it easy because it's been 2 Tiny 10s back to back since February, and I'm taking the training quite serious, and I'm just happy that I don't have to train for these games or any other Tiny 10 games for a couple of months. So I'm actually really happy right now.
That's right. You also won the Tiny 10 Remix number 2. You started, I believe, doing these races with the first Tiny 10 Remix. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I just saw that. Thanks to Mo, of course. He told everyone in the Game Boy community that that event is coming up, and I was like, this seems like a cool thing. Learn 10 Game Boy games, casually speedrun them, and then I got addicted to the Game Boy races.
Yeah, how many have you done so far? I know you were with the one with Flintstones, but I don't remember which one that was.
That was 5.
So I'm gonna look at. Yeah, that was 5. So
I did that one.
Yeah, I did that one too. That was my last Tiny 10 I ran in.
Treasure Island. I hated that game.
Yeah, not good.
It's a fine game. It just we didn't get along.
Is it a fine game?
I think so. Yeah, it's a competent game. You know?
Except for the car section.
I like whenever it says Flintstones in the game, it says Flintstones with the trademark sign, which I think really keeps you involved in the story to always be letting everyone know, hey, this is a registered trademark of Hanna-Barbera, so don't get it twisted.
Well, right, yeah. You gotta respect the lore when it comes to trademarks.
I always like that in the show too, when they'd be like, Barney TM. that was my favorite part.
I mean, it's been a few years since I watched Flintstones, but I mean, maybe I just, as a kid, just don't remember it.
I think you don't.
Yeah, I think it must have been like,
you're a kid.
Yeah.
So, Hero, what was the biggest problem for you in this list?
Mega Man 3. I don't know why it was a short game, but it's quite input heavy. At least for me. And yeah, I died 3 times during the run today. And I took it pretty slow as well. So Mega Man 3 was my biggest problem. I thought that Roger Rabbit was going to be the biggest problem. I learned that game as the last game because I didn't want to play it. And when I sat down and learned the route, I actually really enjoy Roger Rabbit. It's a fun little route game. Just you go to the left, you go to the right, you kick some weasels' butts. It's alright.
Yeah, it's a cool little game for sure.
It seems like a pretty cool game. Yeah, I was saying before you joined us that I think that's my favorite one coming out of seeing this whole list now. That seems like a real cool game.
It often gets overlooked for sure, because most people probably think that it's going to be just like the NES game.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to be similar to that, and that is kind of a trash game in a lot of ways. No disrespect to anyone who likes that game, but yeah, it just, it's kind of a manipulate RNG sort of situation, I think. And then, there's kind of, I don't know. I don't really know the game very well, but I know it's not a Metal Gear clone, which I was very surprised to learn about Roger Rabbit for Game Boy, and very intrigued by. So that's pretty cool.
So, Enemy, I heard that Konami owns Easter Island, or what?
Yeah. So as I was explaining to everyone, a lot of people are baffled by Moai heads. Like, who put the Moai heads there? How is that even possible? It's all a marketing gimmick by Konami to sell more video games. And, this just goes to show how many people don't play video games in the world, that they are ignorant to this fact. Because, Konami wholly owns Easter Island and put the Moai heads there for marketing. That's why they're in all the Gradius games and a lot of other games. And they even licensed them out for, like, Magic Sword by Capcom and stuff like that. So, it's just marketing. That's all it is. Like most things in the world.
Is this on the wiki page, or is it like on the cover?
Well, yeah, you gotta... those who know, you know what I'm saying? But like, you gotta, you gotta be in the know. You gotta keep your ear to the ground for these things. It's too hot to handle on the Wikipedia.
He has inside information about it. He knows people that work.
I played a lot of Gradius, so I know things. Once you get to like a diamond tier Gradius player, they let you in on the inside scoop about how these things work.
Oh, it's kind of like the YouTubers when you have 100,000 subscribers and like 1 million. They send you like information.
I've said too much here. The Konami army is coming to my house right now.
I can hear them already. I can hear the pachinko.
You can hear the pachinko balls bouncing.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mo, how was it to set these 10 games for this Tiny 10? Was it hard or was it easy? How come we are playing these 10 games?
It was actually very easy this time around. Didn't look around much, but did try to get a lot of different types of games in this one, which definitely shows, because there's... Okay, again, we have like 3 platformers basically, but one of them is very weird, because it's Tarururu, which offers also a shmup in between. It's kind of like Bad Gun, I would say, like has a little bit mix of both. But yeah, all the other games are very different, because a railgun game, who would have thought that would have been in a speedrun race? Or Quirk is also very weird, because it's such a short one. It's probably the shortest one we've ever had. although that Marble Madness, since that it got first introduced in one of the Tiny Tens, also got a record that is sub 2. So those are really special games that are super quick. I was afraid that a lot of people would get stuck on Batman for sure. But I also wanted to put this game in for quite a long time, because it is an amazing technical speedrun. So
Yeah, we talked about it in the Game Boy Discord this week. A couple of people played it blind for the first time, and it's a terrible blind game. I hate Return of the Joker as a blind game, but the speedrun is super fun. I could recommend it to someone that wants something a bit more technical than Kirby. Kirby is a perfect first speedrun game. But Return of the Joker is a really cool speed game.
Yeah, you made it look really easy too, which is very difficult to do. That is not a game that comes easily, but you really had the swinging down, because I mean the timing to keep that going, across the entire ceiling is not just
that's hours of safe state practice.
Yeah, you have to get really used to it, and you made it look like it was nothing. I mean, you were done that game so quickly. I was shocked how quick that game was, because my experience with that game is only up to the tank, and I was like, oh, this is a tough game. You gotta really fight with the controls a little bit, and you flew past that in a minute, and then we were done with the game a couple minutes later. It was really impressive.
It's a great speed game for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that an Indian Dan Lavi made it to the list. That game is such a hidden gem, because I guess it only came out in France, maybe? It's a European
possibly,
only game.
Yeah. Because nobody knows it. I mean, nobody knows the movie outside of France either. So.
Is the game better than the movie?
Nobody knows. Literally nobody.
Well, I feel like the fact that that no one has seen the movie is an indication that yes, the game is better than the movie. So there you go. Oftentimes, you'll hear, what's a good game based on a movie? And the list is pretty short. It's pretty short the other way around too, but even shorter going from a movie to a game. And there you go. You got Indian game now as an example of a game that is better than the source movie.
Yeah, like besides True Lies for Game Boy, which is a masterpiece, there are not that many great movie adaptations.
I genuinely don't know if you're being honest, Mo.
True Lies is such a good game.
Yeah.
Okay, again, that was not helpful, EBC. That sounded sarcastic, but I don't know.
It reminds me a lot of
Also,
Alien 3.
like, if I asked you about some games that are really genuinely good, you would have cross opinions about them, so I don't know.
Well, it depends if you're talking about a game or a tech demo. So,
you see, this is why I can't trust either of you. Tech demo. It's a top 5 Sunsoft soundtrack. You're going to reduce it to being a tech demo. How dare you?
Yeah, they might as well have just released a CD with a song. Like, that would have been.
They can do both.
There were no CDs.
A fun game.
There were no CDs back then. It was a cassette tape.
Yeah.
So, okay, is True Lies actually any good for the Game Boy?
Have you ever played Alien 3 for the Game Boy?
No, I played Alien 3 for NES, though.
Totally different.
Is it?
Yeah, Alien 3 Game Boy is like Metal Gear.
Like, for real? Or are you just
no, it's for real. Like,
Okay.
it's like Metal Gear.
That sounds pretty good. How come Mo is demanding that 10 people run it before he puts it on to...
No, that's Mulan.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Mulan.
Mulan,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
I'm getting my wonderful games.
Yeah,
that haven't appeared.
Mulan is not a wonderful game.
It seemed alright. I've seen Slash run it.
Did
in
it
person.
seem alright?
It seemed, yeah, like, in the hands of someone else. I didn't have to play it, so, yeah.
Yeah, the only reason Alien 3 has it in it is because it's impossible blind.
It's a very hard blind game. But yeah, anyway, Hero, I know you typically practice for these Tiny Tens a lot. how much practice did you put into this Tiny 10? How many games were you somewhat familiar with? Because I know you've done the Game Boy Challenge for the Scandinavian games. You've played a few, extra games that are outside of the region and whatnot. Like, how familiar were you with some of them? How long did you have to practice for some of them?
The only blind games were Indian, Mole Mania, and Magical Tararutukun, I'd say. Punisher was blind as well. So almost half were blind before the list were announced. As I said, I was pretty tired after the Remix 2 practice. So I just dove right into this list as well. But I usually learn like 1 or 2 games per week, and then I just keep playing them after I learn them. Whenever, if my girlfriend is going out on the street for the town for like an hour, I just boot out the Game Boy and play a couple of Nemesis rounds. And but I say I probably played practiced twice as much for the Remix 2 than this one, just because I was tired with all the practice on the weekends and the evenings.
That's fair, yeah. Well, the stuff like practicing for these types of marathon races is tiring. Like I've done 2 big 20s, and yeah.
The thing is with race practice is you need to continue to play whenever you do something that you're not familiar with. If you pick up a power-up that you don't really know what it does, because that might happen on race day. If you're just trying to grind the world record, you can just reset whenever. So it's 2 entirely different strategies. You need to know what happens if I get to this boss without this power-up. What happens if I get to this stage with only 1 life? Stuff like that.
Right.
So that's why I like this kind of things more than just world record grind, because this takes more knowledge of the game.
Right, and on top of that, like you want to do like some full runs as well, or some like multiple game runs like as practice, because controls for one game are completely different for another game. Like you have Batman Return to the Joker, where the controls are exceptionally slippy, and then right afterwards you're going to Quirk, which is very slow paced and a puzzle.
Yeah, that took me by surprise in the first remix last year that Enemy hosted, because he put Little Mermaid and Tailspin back to back, and Little Mermaid is a super fast shoot 'em up, whilst Tailspin is really, really slow paced. And I was very confused at the beginning where you had to switch those games. Just like you said, the controller scheme is so different. So it's strange. The brain doesn't really want to compute at first.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, like sub 2 hour time, you made a lot of those games look real easy, even though some of them are pretty tough.
And we would be remiss not to say congratulations on your new world record as well that you got in here for an in-game.
Yeah, that it's all thanks to Sprinting Legs, because she have done some routing that's up there on speedrun.com for everyone to look at, and it's some girl that has the world record that's on the board, and those new routes that Legs has shown us, it's not in the world record at the moment, so that's probably why I got it. Legs has shown us.
So how does it feel to be 3rd place in Titus the Fox?
Was that a 3rd place run?
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 people on the leaderboard.
It feels great. Titus the Fox is such a weird game, and I'm actually pretty sad I didn't do a blind playthrough before the practice, because how are you supposed to figure out this game?
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Especially 4-2, where you have to jump against a wall to activate a ladder.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Yeah, it's a strange game.
I love how the hard run is faster than the normal run or the easy run, just because the tempo of the game is faster.
Right. Yeah, it's just purely because of the tempo of the game. It's not because like there's anything taken out. It's just the fact that the game runs twice the speed, basically. The co-op for that game is pretty cool, though.
Co-op? I didn't know co-op existed.
There's two foxes on the screen at once, and you guys can interact with items and whatnot. It's a pretty cool 2-player game.
Huh, cool.
So the next time Enemy is at GDQ, we get to do a 2-player record.
Wow. Let me book my tickets today.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And the sad thing is, like, the 2-player mode would only speed up like 2 levels. That's all it would do.
I was gonna say I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out it's much slower to play it.
It's
2-player.
Yeah, I'd assume it'd be like a minute faster, maybe, just because you can carry 2 balls instead of 1 in World 5.
Yeah, got that sweet link cable.
Oh, that sweet link cable.
So don't look now, but I think is sneaking ahead of Legs here, who just took a game over. I am now in Mega Man 3, and of course I am. There's certainly one game in this group of 10 that he's familiar with. It's going to be Mega Man 3. Yeah. As a seasoned Mega Man video game runner, he is very knowledgeable, and he is on his way through Sparkman stage as well. So it looks like he is jumping into 3rd place right now.
Yeah, he's also very glad we only do the first.
I was only glad when we did the first half. Dive Man is awful, but the Dust Man stage is brutal. Like for those of you not familiar with Mega Man 3 Game Boy, there is a screen in the Dust Man stage where there is no platform at all, and the entire screen is just spikes. So you have to time your rush coil just right over a rushing bull to get to the ladder, or else you'll die. No, 4 bosses and then Breakman, essentially. And then 4 more bosses from Mega Man 4. And then Wily. Brutal Game Boy game. Trying to figure out where Some Girl is at right now in Roger Rabbit.
It's hard to tell if you don't pay super much attention to it, because you travel through a lot of the same areas multiple times.
So she has the boxing glove hammer, so she's at least in scene 2. So you don't get that till scene 2, when you have to get the bread and lay it on the road. The nice thing about Roger Rabbit is that there is limited continues, or not. There's unlimited continues. Roger Rabbit is one of those like where the heck do I go type games.
Yeah, it's a game you should play if you enjoy Game Boy, and or just think this game looks alright, because it's a solid Capcom Disney game for the Game Boy.
It's definitely better than the NES counterpart for sure.
Was that one made by Capcom?
I think it's here. Let me check.
The cart is in a box right now, and I don't want to go get it.
Mm-hmm. Because all the Disney.
It's the developers are Rare and Capcom, but it's LJN published game.
Oh yeah, there we go.
But I mean a publisher, that doesn't matter, you know.
There's nothing wrong with LJN.
No, heck no. Jaws and TNC Surf Design, Wood and Water Rage,
Alien 3, True Lies.
Okay.
The Punisher.
Oh boy. Karate Kid, yeah. All right, so
Beetlejuice.
Oh,
yeah.
All the
The-
Spider-Man games.
So
all the Spider-Man games.
the developers of Jaws didn't want their names anywhere, like in credits. There's no credits in that game, and as the story goes, they didn't want their names in the credits because they were all ashamed of that game, which I think is terrible because Jaws is a fine video game.
There's nothing wrong with that game at all.
No, it's I love that they finally capture my favorite scene from Jaws 4, which is where they're flying in a Cessna, dropping bombs on jellyfish. Now, in no other video game have they accurately portrayed that seminal scene, but in Jaws, so. When's Jaws for Game Boy? That's a game, right?
No, it's
No,
I know, I was just
unfortunately.
joking. Yeah.
Could have been. I mean,
Sure, it could have been.
We didn't get Chippendale for Game Boy either.
No, I
No.
know, really. Like, that seems weird. Instead, you got that terrible DuckTales port
Get that Mickey Mouse Dangerous
DuckTales 2
Space
rules.
game.
for Game Boy, but DuckTales 1, what on earth?
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
my God.
I'll actually be talking about it in the next podcast.
No, I apologize. That means you guys had to play it recently.
Which one?
I
Mickey?
Oh. DuckTales.
Oh, DuckTales. Nah, I've played that many times.
Sorry.
won't play Shaq Fu, but he'll play DuckTales.
Yeah. I have played Shaq Fu. What are you talking about?
So you have. I made you play Shaq Fu.
For the whole 6 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, now you know the art of Shaq Fu, and you know no one will mess with you in the streets because you can
Just
show them
do
your
leg
Shaq Fu
sweep.
black belt.
Always do leg sweeps and you win.
Only the Game Boy version, though.
That works in Mortal Kombat also.
The Game Gear version of Shaq Fu, impossible.
Is that because it runs out of batteries before you can finish
No,
it?
it's hard.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that would be hard to beat if, you didn't have power.
Dude, the final fight just destroys you.
Nah, some girl is heading for the stage 3 now. For those who are wondering, it's the biggest stage in Roger Rabbit.
Just mesmerized by the Mega Man music.
Alright, here's the Sparkman fight.
And I am's getting up to the Snake Man fight.
One more hit. There we go. Alright. It's looking dicey there for legs. But they pulled it out. And Sparkman is done. But yeah, as you say, I am now getting ready to fight old Snackman.
Alright, but I'm gonna take my leave from the chat here.
That's alright. Yeah, sorry. The background.
I saw the conversation.
Yeah. So, but yeah, again, thank you very much, Hero, for participating yet again, and for winning. Yeah, weirdly enough, not really any competition this time around. I'm not sure what happened. We'll figure that out after the race, I guess. But yeah, very nice to see another sub 2 time. That's always very cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised more people didn't show up, but let's hope for Tiny 1010. It has a nice ring to it.
It'll have Beethoven.
And super thanks, Mo, for setting these events together. Like I said last time, these game lists, these are my AAA game releases. I play these Tiny 10 races instead of actually buying new games for the current gen systems.
I'm not sure if that's always the best choice, but yes.
I think that's definitely a good choice.
I'm having a blast with these games. I'm super happy. It's happening every now and then.
Yeah, it's always fun to do these. At least commentating is also always fun, and hey, people get to see games they've never heard of before, so that's always really good.
Yeah, and thank you, Belthic and Enemy, for the commentary as well. I'm gonna watch the WOD tomorrow.
Hey, well, congratulations again, Hero. Awesome job, man.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, see you around, and thanks everyone for tuning in to the race as well. See ya!
Later, Hero.
Alright, I am getting the Mega Man V reference right there. I don't know what the drop rate is on 1-ups, but we've seen that a couple times here today for different runners.
Not that much,
Okay.
actually.
All
We're
right.
getting pretty lucky, to be fair.
I am getting some really good frame rate right there. Like I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
there's no lag in Game Boy games at all.
No. It's just cinematic.
Feature. Get to listen to the best song in Mega Man again. So let's see, we got PUBG on Titus. I am on Gemini Mega Man 3. Legs on Snake Mega Man 3. Some girl on Roger Rabbit, looks like just getting the Toon Gun, or about to get the Toon Gun. And Flocious on Snake Man Mega Man 3. Yeah, really hoping Mr. PUBG can get through Titus. It is a tough game blind simply because of all the hidden passages and hidden exits, but
Yeah,
the hardest is up to come, so
yeah, you can say it's smooth sailing from for a blind player, so would be nice, of course, if we get to see in the end that everybody was able to at least finish all the games, depending on how much time they have to.
well, I am is on Mega Man. Roger Rabbit was after Mega Man. And Roger Rabbit's what, game 5? So some girl's about to fight whatever the balloon weasel is called, I forgot. Oh, she doesn't have the Toon Gun yet.
Ah, that's a problem.
So that's going to be a little bit of an issue.
Let's just call that Weasel Floaty.
Old floats a lot.
So they can see through the blocks.
Well, yeah.
Or through the crates.
They're tall.
What's the point of the crates then?
Just to have the what is it? The chaff grenade.
Yeah, chaff grenade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Don't see any
somebody
cameras, though.
just
What's that gonna do? Come on, man.
can somebody just make a mod for Metal Gear where it plays everything with weasels and Roger Rabbit as the main
Can
character?
someone just make a Metal Gear Game Boy game? That's
They
not
did
Game
that.
Boy Color.
They did that. It's
Not
right
this
here,
Game Boy
guys.
Color.
Yeah.
No, this. This is it. Everything you're asking for is right in front of you.
I want pre-Ghost Babel.
Pre-Ghost Babel. That is a great game, however.
Ghost
One of
Babel
those-
is a very good game.
Yeah, one of those 20 actually good Game Boy Color games.
20, that's being generous.
It is being generous, yeah. I can think of
I think of
5?
3 off the top of my head.
Alright, so I Am is fighting Big Susie right now. Has 1 hit left. There it is.
Big Sue's down. I Am is moving on to Roger Rabbit.
Alright, so I Am is picking it up now here. We'll see how he does in Roger Rabbit as some girl on the internet is looking for that toon gun.
Well, she knows that she needs a toon gun because the guy keeps telling her
That's right.
she needs a toon gun, so... I didn't even notice the butt cracks before, Mo, until you said something. Now that's all I see is butt cracks.
There are the butt cracks again.
Lewd game is lewd.
Look, if they want to have a nudist bar in 2, that's their thing.
I mean, I'm not gonna shame him at all.
Yeah.
And I Am making his way to the studio, seeing the director getting shot. So I Am is at the factory where you get the toon gun. So he's at where some girl needs to get to.
Some girl started going through that section with the weasels with the machine guns that we had mentioned earlier. Was able to
that's-
survive that first screen anyway.
It's a bad day usually without the fast boots.
Yeah, it's not a fun time at all.
There we see she's coming to get the last carrot. So I don't know how that's going to affect her going forward in this game. I saw Hero grab, I think he had 2 carrots left by the end of the game. Grabbed them a little bit later, or at least grabbed the second one a little bit later. So.
I think they actually reset if you die, so it's
Oh, okay. Oh, that's
not
fine.
that bad. By the way, shout outs to Man Over Mars for again making the layout for the stream. He always picks a character from one of the games and turns a Game Boy into that character, basically.
That's cool. He went with Batman this time, right?
Yeah.
So,
I see the cape, so
Yeah. Any other characters have a cape? I don't think so.
maybe Vic Viper, but you never see that guy. So.
Well, Vic Viper's the name of the ship. I don't know.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow, the
Alien
guy
ship.
in Vic.
Yeah, he's wearing a cape. A lot of people don't know that. Again, if you're deep in the Konami lore.
Clearly Mo is. He thinks Vic, whatever his name is,
Yeah,
the
so you
damn
guys-
guy's.
You got some. Oh, it looks like Legs has maybe sorted out where to go here in the factory. I don't know if this is the right factory. It did say factory though, so I'm confident.
Some girl is definitely in the right spot.
I'm sorry, some girl. Yeah, I think I said Legs.
She's gotta get through the weasels.
course, it'd be interesting to see how familiar with this game I am is.
I know IM has played this game because we have talked about it briefly. Hey,
there we go.
Some girl has the toon gun.
Some girl getting the toon gun now can go back and take on the Weasel boss. Check that in, Thor. Make sure you got it.
Well, when you first get the toon gun, you don't get any ammo at all.
Right.
So,
yeah, so I guess she gotta go find that now.
yeah, so some girl has to go back onto the train, go across the screens again, and then go into that room where that guy said there are bullets hidden in this room, and then collect the bullets from the desk, and then go fight.
That Weasel is sitting on top of some girl on the internet.
Ooh, this might be.
Oh my goodness! Whoa! No, get out of there! Okay, wow.
That was really close. I don't know. There's still, yeah, there are still carrots around here somewhere, but
Paramedic.
Goodness gracious, that was too close for comfort.
And when you die in a scene, you have to redo the entire scene over.
Ah.
So, since
That would
she
be
has
terrible.
the toon gun now, if she dies, she has to go and get the toon gun.
Oh
again.
no. And you wonder if she'll realize that. Oh well, there's the death.
Well,
yep.
she will now. So,
At least it will go by fast.
and legs falling down the pit. It's probably the pit that she is jumping over is probably one of the harder jumps in the first half of the game. You can do it without a sliding jump, but it's pretty tough. It's a tough jump because you have Flying Boy going over the pit with you as well
Right.
too. So Infinite Mystery getting the loaf of bread. Yeah, some girl working her way back to the factory again. While Mr. PUBG World 4, because it's Scorpion. 4-1 is a little tough just because it has a lot to... It throws a lot at you. Kind of quickly, too. Four 2 is the roughest, though, because of the hidden ladder up against the right wall. 5-1 is no different either. You have to know that there's a secret ladder in the middle of the level with no indication whatsoever.
So yeah, it looks like some girl went back and got the gun again. And we'll now be looking for those bullets. And I am just got that bread, it looked like. Or at least has the bread. I don't know if he just got it, but may not be too terribly far behind right now.
Yeah, I am and some girl are very close together right now. I am is one scene behind. Actually, they're on the same scene right now. I am might be slightly more ahead because I am is triggering the glue scene with Eddie, and I will need to get the glue here shortly after. So I is one scene behind Some Girl, and Some Girl has the toon gun and back in the train, so she is going all the way to the other side again to go fight the balloon weasel. I am not knowing that if you just hold left against Eddie, Eddie will just eventually push out of the glue.
Yeah, that is something I keep forgetting as well when I'm playing this game.
It would be nice if the game gave you some indication about that.
It says push.
Yeah, it says push, but like with all your strength, I think gives you the indicator that you need to use the gun. It's a one-time thing, not like a keep pushing me for several seconds thing.
Yeah, indeed. It's a little
He's
bit
so close
weird.
too. He's so close. He just needs to be patient.
With that all being said, though, I think it's about time for us to take our leave with this. We usually definitely keep going until there's a top 3 before we actually cut out, but it's gonna be a while, sadly, before that happens. But make sure to go watch all of the runners that currently are still in the race. So everybody on stream, Infinite Mystery, who is on the RGL TV. Retro Gaming Live TV is actually the URL, I guess, where he's streaming now. But definitely go see Sprinting Lex's stream, Some Girl on the internet, which we only just Some Girl, Mr. PUBG, and Flocius, who's currently not on the screen. So give them a follow, go watch them, and wish them good luck. Maybe give them some hints in some of the games through them a little bit faster. Thanks to Man Over Mars for the layout mentioned a little bit ago. Thank you very much, of course, for Baltic and Enemy for co-commentating during this. Thanks to everybody who joined and watched, and of course, thanks a lot to Fiesel and the crew of Speed Gaming for making us have a platform where we can show this on.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, everyone, for showing up, watching Game Boy games, underappreciated Game Boy games.
Absolutely. Yeah, go cheer on all the other runners, guys.
Yeah, I don't know how to make a multi-Twitch in SRL, so...
Right.
Yeah, the multi-Twitch bot is dead, apparently.
That's too bad.
Makes sense.
I mean, it makes sense now, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're interested in participating in free-for-all, you can come in blind, you can come in practiced. We announce it usually 2 months before the actual race. We do the list. This one was 3 months before, I think. So you have plenty of time to practice for these games. It's only 10 games as well, so it's not that bad at all. Most Game Boy games are pretty short to begin with, too. We're talking like 15-20 minutes at like most bulky. Most speedruns, if you put some time in, are 10 minutes or less. Yeah. And normally it's around November.
Yeah,
when we actually do these, so in a few months, in half a year actually, before we get back to it. So look forward to that.
Yeah,
Mo usually plans them out in April and November, or May and November.
Yeah, keep an eye out on gbrunners.com, everybody. You can go look at the lists from previous Tiny 10s, which will be good if you want to participate in the Tiny 10 remix that comes out usually in February, March. And of course, you can also see all of the awesome games that have been in all of the past marathons, because I am telling you, you will find some really nice gems in there. If you are unfamiliar with Game Boy, you want some games that you're going to like, I'm telling you, it's a treasure trove just going through the old Tiny 10 lists. So definitely check that out, gbrunners.com.
Yeah, and if you want to hear more rants and silly jokes about Game Boy games, and actually useful information sometimes as well. Me and Baltic actually do a podcast about it, with some more obscure games that nobody has ever heard of. And you can find us on also on GB Runners actually /TIGB, which is This Is Game Boy. You can find us on SoundCloud, on your whatever podcast thingy you use on your phone to listen to those. You can find us as This Is Game Boy if you're interested in that.
Yeah, the last episode to come out is Wisdom Tree Games.
Yeah, well, today would be the new episode, Duck for Game Boy, but our producer Sprinting Lex is actually participating, so it's not been released yet.
So go listen to Wisdom Tree Games for the Game Boy. We'll put Spiritual Warfare in a Tiny 10.
We will not, but yeah.
When is the Tiny 10 that has the King James Bible in it?
That'll be the next Tiny 10 as well, too.
Okay.
I'll put all 5 Wisdom Tree games in the next Tiny 10.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Especially the 120 levels in Joshua.
I had that for NES.
I do too.
Ay.
And the 100 levels for Exodus.
Definitely. But yeah, I guess we're gonna be gone soon, so to everybody, a good rest of the day or rest of the... Have a great weekend, and thank you again for stopping by.
Cheers, everyone.
All right, take care, everyone. Thanks for watching.